Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer.
To get ourselves a treat.
Hello, hello.
Hello!
Hello!
Hey! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you! It's your birthday.
It's not my birthday anymore, but...
It was yesterday.
It was
your
yesterday.
birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you?
26.
Ooh, getting up there, huh?
26 years old.
Getting up there. The big 2-6.
Yeah, dude.
The big-
I feel no different. Except for my legs still fucked up.
Hey, man, it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting older already. You got sprained your ACL. That you just figured that out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What's new with you besides your birthday and besides that I just saw you yesterday for your birthday?
Well, I don't know. We've been seeing each other a lot this week.
Yes, we have. We've been
saw-
watching some movies.
Watching some movies together.
Which we'll talk about in Recently Seen, but
Recently Seen. But nothing other than that. What's going on with you?
Same old shit, dude. Same old shit. Trying to work on some films and stuff like that. Doing this podcast in between. I still haven't announced it on Niko 9, but this is our second episode exclusively on the new Let's All Go to the Lobby channel.
So subscribe to it. Link
subscribe.
below. Link below.
We need subscribers. I think we're only at 5 right now.
5? I think I'm 2 of them.
I'm 3 of them. So
yeah. We make up the whole
yeah.
audience.
So yeah. Look at that.
That's cool.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so subscribe to this channel and enjoy the content that we will be providing to you.
I can't say link in the below anymore because it would be a link in the below in the new YouTube.
Yeah,
So that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. I still need to make a video. I don't have
a video to like tell you that, hey, go to this.
Yeah, go to
place.
this. I still need to put that on Niko 9, so I need to do that soon. I need to borrow my friend's camera so I can freaking get going with that. You know?
Man, it's so good.
It's so good, so good. So as of now, we heard something weird but in the background there. As of now, we are going to start the podcast. How does that sound for you?
Sounds good to me.
Let's get into the news.
I'm pulling up the news right now, actually.
Okay.
I'm pulling up your news.
Oh, well, first thing on the news. Let's just get this right out the way. This is like Marvel Week here on Let's All Go to the Lobby.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Basically, because they announced the Shang-Chi movie in the works.
I don't know who that is.
Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu.
Is it like an Iron Fist related character?
Actually, kind of. What happened was, I believe in the 70s, Roy Thomas created 2 martial arts characters. He created Shang-Chi, which is basically like, he's the Bruce Lee of the Marvel Universe, right?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and then he created Iron Fist at the same time, and he's like, which one is going to catch on? And they're both still around, so they both sort of caught on, but Iron Fist, like, took off. You know, yeah. Iron Fist was, like, way bigger than Shang-Chi was. So anyone who says Roy Thomas is a racist for creating Iron Fist is not true at all, because he created Shang-Chi, who is an Asian character. He's basically Bruce Lee of the Marvel Universe, like I said. And, yeah, he's an awesome character. He's basically a Kung Fu master. That's literally his subtitle.
So
Shang-Chi,
we
the
should
Master of Kung
expect,
Fu.
like, an Ip Man type movie.
Exactly. An Ip Man kind of, like, Kung Fu martial arts type film.
Because we haven't seen one like that. We've seen stuff with like good fighting choreography, but we've never seen anything that is genuine martial arts.
Exactly. I mean, even in Captain America, that has some really cool fight choreography. I mean, it's not like martial arts type choreography, you know. So I would love to see.
I want to see the stances.
Yes.
I want to see the Neo, the hand, come get it.
The raid. I just want Marvel to do the raid, basically.
I want the patience between each fight, like they stop for a while to get their endurance back and stuff.
Exactly.
I want it to look real.
Yeah, there was rumors that Shang-Chi was going to appear in the Iron Fist show. So I'm glad that Shang-Chi did not appear in there and that he's getting his own movie, because I always thought Shang-Chi was one of the most underrated characters ever.
And watch, if there is a movie coming out.
Yes.
He will end up being more popular than Iron Fist.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Especially because the Iron Fist show kind of went downhill for that first season. It was real bad. So, Yeah, the popularity of Iron Fist. It's amazing what, like, just a movie or a visual medium can do to the medium as a whole. Because people are like, oh, Iron Fist is a boring character, he's dumb. And I'm like, but he's not, though. If you read the comics, you know that he's an awesome character.
And he seems like he's gotten better. I haven't watched all of season 2, but it seems like he's gotten better.
He did get better.
He's a little bit more down to earth. He was so whiny in the first one.
Yeah, he did get better in the second season.
Iron Fist. It's like, shut up, boy who cried wolf over here.
Because in the comics, he's actually like a really goofy, fun-loving dude. He's almost like a frat dude. Like he's a frat guy who's like always like fun-loving and stuff like that. You know, that's who he is. Like. What?
A frat guy who meditates.
Yeah, he's like a frat guy who meditates. That's what Iron Fist is in the comics. Like he's super charismatic and he's super fun. In the show, for some reason, they changed him to be like this whiny little twerpy, like annoying guy for some reason, and they sort of brought back his charisma and like his fun-loving side in the second season. Not as much as I would like. But I guess they wanted to ease into it rather than just doing the 180. Who knows?
Yeah.
But point is, he's a cool character, so it's weird that people are now like, oh, Iron Fist is the dumbest character Marvel's ever created or something like that. And I'm like, no, he's not. Like, he's really cool if you would read the comics, but because 90% of the population doesn't read comics who watch those movies.
The TV shows and the movies, they're like the Spark Notes version of it.
Exactly, and that's the only thing people get. So that's
what's going on over here?
I don't know.
Shit dropping.
Shit dropping. We got like a party going on over here. Yeah. So everyone's like, "Oh, Iron Fist." I'm like, "No, but read the comics." So, but the double-edged sort of that, the other side of the aisle in that regard is you can take obscure characters like Guardians of the Galaxy, or who else? I mean, everyone. Technically, Iron Man was pretty obscure before he came out.
I feel like Black Panther was an obscure choice.
Black Panther too. Yeah. They were all really obscure because before 2011, nobody knew who Thor was. The only people who knew who Thor was were like, like Marvel Comics Thor, are people like us or like geeks and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe not even you.
Honestly, I knew who Thor was. I mean, I knew who almost all of them were. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a brother that's into comics.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But the average person wouldn't really know.
Sure.
Now, like, what a movie can do is, like, bring these people into the mainstream. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, nobody knew who Guardians of the Galaxy were before that movie. And I knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were before the movie. And that just shows you how, like, big of a fan I was of comics at the time. Although I was not a huge fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy series because... I don't know. I read, like, the old Guardians of the Galaxy with, like, Yondu and, like, Charlie 27 or whatever his name was, and, like, Martin X and, like, all those other people who are actually in the movies still. But, like, one of the post-credit scenes in the Guardians 2 film was the original Guardians, with Sylvester Stallone. He's like...
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, he's like, let's go steal some shit. And, like, he, like, whatever... That was the original Guardians lineup from the comics, like all those characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not understand it.
Yeah. And then in like, I believe like 2005, something like relatively recently, that's when they brought in Star-Lord and Groot and they created that version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's what the movies were based off of. So it's cool that some movies can take obscure characters and just like put them into the mainstream. And I think if anyone deserves to be in the mainstream, it's Shang-Chi, because Shang-Chi is dope.
Mm-hmm. Super and that's cool. Going to expand their diversity as far as like genre fusions go.
That's very true. It's going to expand their diversity as far as like representation. You're going to have like their Asian hero as well, which is awesome. It's cool to have that, and not as like a sidekick like Kato and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more world building.
It is more world building, and it's just a cool thing. It's just cool. Mm-hmm. I really want to see like a kung fu film from Marvel because they're going to deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some shit news, shall we?
Shit news?
Resident Evil is being rebooted. Are you excited for that? I am so excited.
Because they said that the last one was the last one.
Yeah.
Now they're just like, let's start over again.
Start over again.
Start from entry number 1, working your way to, like, what, number 10 or 11? I don't even know.
See, come on, man. I've always hated the Resident Evil series.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I never really watched them all the way through, and then my friend was like, no, man, look, I know they get a bad rep, but you gotta watch them, man.
That's how it always starts.
You gotta watch them. So he sat me down in his basement, he's like, okay, look, we're gonna watch the first one, okay? I guarantee you're gonna love this thing. I watched the first one, and I was like, dude, this movie is horrendous. Like, this movie is bad. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. I'm glad you like it. I'm not exactly sure what you see in it, but I am not seeing anything I like.
Yeah.
Like, at all. This is terrible. This is terrible. So I just avoided the sequels because I hear it just gets worse.
It only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
And more convoluted.
How many did they make? Like 7?
The joke on Red Letter Media is this is the 6th or maybe 7th entry.
Yeah.
5th or maybe 6th. Yeah, they don't even know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Knows?
And the funny thing is, and it's funny because Red Letter Media also mentioned this, but it's true. When I was a kid, Underworld and Resident Evil would always sort of come out at the same time.
Yeah.
And I always got those two franchises mixed up.
The January month, dude.
Yeah, the Graveyard Month.
The Graveyard Month.
I hate January.
We're coming up to it.
I know. Oh, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be fine for me because there's 20 movies to go see right now. Or something like that,
That's true.
and they'll all be sitting there because you know that like if something like Underworld came out, it would just go instantly in like a week or two. Out of theaters.
It is the dumping ground for because you know why studios put their bad films in January, right?
Because of the Oscars, right?
Well, it's because of it's mostly because studies show statistically that people don't go to the movies as much in January and February as the rest of the year. Because after Christmas and after the holidays, they've spent so much. They don't have as much. So if they're sitting on a movie they know is going to tank and is going to bomb, but they have to release it, they release it in January, knowing no one's going to watch it, and then it's just going to kind of flop under the radar. Mm-hmm. So that really has become their dumping ground.
And that kind of explains why the summer season starts at around April, even though it's not actually because you get your tax returns back.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So. There's always those, Rain Man-esque type strategies going on in the industry. So, anyway, Resident Evil, no. See,
go away.
Go away. And it's being directed by the director of The Strangers
2. Which it wasn't even that good, apparently.
I heard it was awful. It was awful. See, Strangers, I was like, but then it said Pray at Night, and I was like, oh. I was like, okay, I had a little bit of hope, but no, not anymore. Sorry. I heard Strangers Pray at Night was just terrible.
The problem is Resident Evil isn't like a bad video game franchise. Like the story's pretty good,
right?
In some areas,
but the movies. See, that's maybe one. I'm trying to give a little bit of hope to this idea here. Maybe they can finally make a Resident Evil movie that is like the game. Because I hear the movies. I don't know if this is true or not. Back me up if I'm wrong.
Nothing like
the games.
They don't follow any similar storyline or whatever. I think they have a couple characters that are the same. But if they were to focus on like Resident Evil 4 storyline, like. With like the infected farmers and stuff like that, like the Leon storyline, that would have been cool.
Yeah, Alice is not even in the games, right?
Nope.
She's just a made-up character for the movie.
Made up character.
It's basically Paul W.S. Anderson's way of putting his wife in everything.
Yeah.
Basically, so. So maybe, hopefully it'll be like more close to the game. I've never played any Resident Evil game, but I did play the 7th one, the new one, and. I've seen like glimpses of Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 4 and stuff like that, and Resident Evil 7 seemed very different than the rest, because Resident Evil 7 almost seemed like a survival horror game, almost like an Outlast game, at least from what I played.
Plus it's like first person.
Yeah, it's like first person, and it's like a survival game.
Yeah.
It's not,
the 5th one was kind of like that. The 5th one is considered complete trash, and I can see why. The great thing about the originals was that it was third person, and then they would have segments of each room. So when you walked into another one, you would have to, the camera would go to that section of it, and you don't know what you're going to see next. You hear like a noise or whatever, but whatever pops up on that screen, that's what is like scary about it. But in that one, it was just completely third person, so you could walk around, and if you hear something, you just turn around and you shoot it, and it became more of an action game than it was a horror game.
Horror game, yeah. I don't know anything about it. Who's the main character? Like Chris something, maybe?
It depends on what
on which game you play. Well, point is, hopefully it can be more accurate to the actual game, rather than the original movies were, the original movie series, because that just was not accurate at all. So
So I have no hope for it.
No,
I don't think we've ever seen a good video game movie. I think
no.
The curse.
We really haven't. Well, you see, here's the thing. I might surprise you with one of my honorable mentions in my best of the year.
Ooh.
Maybe. It's not a great film, but I don't think it deserved as much hate as everyone gave it. And no one really gave it that much hate, but I think it deserved a little bit of a boost, personally.
Interesting.
Yes. So.
and just on the other side of the spectrum, they're not very good at making movie video games either.
No. I think those are even worse, aren't they?
Probably.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so are we ready for the next little
what do we got here?
Story here. Well, the Golden Globes have released their nominations.
That's right.
Yes, and they got some odd ones. They got some odd ones. For those of you who don't know, the Golden Globes is basically like the number 2 to the Oscars. It's like the one step behind the Oscars. And one interesting thing they do that the Oscars doesn't do is they separate the drama and comedy categories. Comedy, musical, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm going to list off the drama nominations right now. There's some interesting ones in here. A Star is Born, which is to be expected.
Yep.
If Beale Street Could Talk, it's like, okay, I could see that. Yep. That's to be expected.
It's not even out, but I can see it.
But then we got some interesting ones here. Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't see that at all. That was way, like, wow.
First of all, Bohemian, shouldn't that technically be in the musical category?
It should. Technically. It's a music biopic.
Yeah, so it's weird that it's in the drama
category. It
category.
is a drama, but, like, I think you have to go with musical. I think that's the trump card right
Yeah, but Bohemian Rhapsody received very lukewarm reviews, though.
They did.
So why is it being nominated for Best Drama?
Because they don't know what they're talking about. It's journalists and stuff. It's not like somebody who specializes in film. It's just like the person that writes articles in like...
The Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Hollywood Reporter or whatever.
Yeah, no, I get you. Black Klansman. I didn't see it, so why, like...
It doesn't really deserve it.
Doesn't deserve it?
And I wouldn't give it a drama either. It would be more comedy.
Mm-hmm. And... the last one here is one that actually kind of... It didn't surprise me for certain reasons, but it actually kind of did surprise me, is Black Panther is nominated for Best Drama. It has no chance of winning, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. No.
You never know with Golden Globes.
That's true. Golden Globes is a lie.
Everyone gets hammered when they go there. Because
That's
even
true.
their actors, they're like, I don't care.
Exactly. They go there out of obligation, basically. However, if I was invited to Golden Globes, hell yeah, I'd be going.
And then they go to In-N-Out Burger afterwards.
I heard Jason, what's his name? Jason Reitman. You ever see his
Every
interview?
single person says that, yes.
Yeah, he's like, we all go to In-N-Out afterwards. And, Jason Reitman, I mean, I like the guy and I like some of his movies, but he was kind of like being a little bitch once in like this interview. They were doing this Oscar documentary and I think it was Up in the Air or something like that. And he's like, I didn't win, so I went to In-N-Out Burger afterwards and I just, like, I was biting into my double-double or whatever. And then some girl was like, did you win an Oscar? Didn't you just, like, win an Oscar? And he's like, no. And then he ate his burger or whatever. And I'm like, what are you bitching about, dude? You're like a millionaire making movies in Hollywood being nominated. Like,
I'll switch places with you.
Yeah.
I'll give you an award.
I'll switch places with you in a heartbeat and you're pouting because you didn't win a gold trophy? Come on, buddy. Like, give me a break. So yeah, some strange nominations there. Some strange ones. And then going to Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy, we have Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay.
It was a good movie. I don't know if it... I mean, if we're ranking best comedies out of the year, maybe I could see it, maybe. But then we have The Favorite by your man, Yorgos Lanthimos. There you go, baby. What the hell? Green Book? Is that a comedy? Was Green Book a comedy?
See, that's where like it becomes tough for like something like Black Klansman and for Green Book. It's like, I don't know. It rides a fine line between the two.
It seemed like, I didn't see Black Klansman, but it seems like Black Klansman was more of a comedy than Green Book was.
Maybe.
So why, I do not, it's weird to me that Green Book is a comedy, because there were some, like, funny comic relief moments.
Sure.
But I would not
in
call
like
that a comedy.
like a stereotypical Italian kind of way.
Yeah, I mean... I don't know.
Why are you breaking my balls?
Why you breaking my balls, man? Vice, which we're actually going to talk about Green Book in our recently seen.
Yeah.
Vice with Christian Bale and whatever. I didn't even know that was a comedy. It kind
of looks like a comedy.
It kind of okay. I don't know. I heard that film. That's getting lukewarm reviews too, though.
Oh damn!
That film.
I want to see it.
Yeah. And then Mary Poppins Returns. Of course,
Okay.
if you got a musical, you gotta throw that in that category.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, like Lin-Manuel is nominated for like best actor in a comedy and musical or whatever.
He is probably. I'm looking it up right now. Best. He might be supporting, definitely.
Yeah, because it seems like his role isn't very big.
Supporting role, Lin-Manuel Miranda. No, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
He wasn't nominated?
No, it says Adam Driver for Black Klansman, Mahershala Ali, Richard E. Grant, Sam Rockwell, and Timothy Chalamet is all I'm seeing. That's supporting. So look at
go to the.
Oh wait! Oh, you're right. He is nominated for best. He's best leading actor.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That is weird. You're right.
His name showed up like. It didn't feel like it was very high up on the top build or whatever. Like when they showed the people.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It seemed like his role was actually pretty small. So we'll see how that works out, though.
Huh.
Yeah. Interesting.
So Golden Globes. I'm not even gonna watch them. I don't think.
I mean, I'll probably watch them.
I'll probably just catch like the. I'll check out what won. Let's go with that.
Check out. Okay, yeah.
I'll check out the Wikipedia after.
No, I get you. But when the Oscars come around,
we're gonna watch it. We're probably gonna film it. Actually,
we're gonna do a podcast while watching it, probably live.
Yeah.
That would be great. We're definitely not the first people to do that, but you know what?
Fine.
Hey. Speaking of Oscars, real quick though, did you hear that Kevin Hart dropped out as the host?
Yeah, because you told me.
Yes. He dropped out as the host because he refused to apologize for 10-year-old tweets about him making some offensive jokes on Twitter or whatever. Mm-hmm. Good for you, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Good for you, man. Stick to your guns, bro. In this oversensitive society nowadays where people fire James Gunn for his 10-year-old tweets, it's like, why don't we just move on? Why are we trying to fucking, like
dig up the past?
Yeah, we're trying to dig up the past. It's a witch hunt now.
It's almost crazy how much stuff that we have in the present day to like bitch about, and then on top of it, we don't have enough, so we have to dig up more stuff.
To dig deeper.
Yeah, it's like we need more. And I feel like, not to get like super off topic, but I feel like we're just slowing progress. By doing this.
For sure. And the irony is that so many people call it progress.
This is progress.
Yeah, so many people are like, "Oh, we're moving forward with all this stuff."
We might all die at some point, so it doesn't matter if we're all good.
My motto is life is too damn short, so why spend it being so cynical about everything? People just want to be angry.
It's dividing us, man, dude. It's tearing us apart.
It really is. And
I think people have been getting better, personally.
I think, well, the weird thing is like, I never really see this type of stuff in real life, like person to person.
Yeah.
But on the internet, it's everywhere. So you think you're surrounded by all these types of people.
It might be the fact that, like, it may be just our area that we're in. Mm-hmm. Our area is pretty, like, we don't have a lot of stuff going on.
No, we don't.
No.
It's a very chill area.
Yeah.
You know, everyone just kind of respects each other, and they're all like...
Yeah, do their own thing.
Yeah, they all
and so maybe we can't, like, contribute too much to it. We're only contributing to what we see in our area, and then what we see online. We're like, this really doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, they're like antitheses of each other. You know, the antithesis of what we go through compared to what the internet says. You know, It's very different. So I don't know, man. It's annoying, but I'm glad Kevin Hart stuck to his guns and was like, and he even apologized for them within his stepping down statement.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so he's like, I apologize for the tweets, whatever. However, I'm choosing to step down as the host of the Oscars because they gave me an ultimatum saying, like, apologize for these tweets or we're going to have to find a different host.
He doesn't have to deal with that.
He doesn't have to answer for anything he did 10 years ago. People change, and people just seem to forget that nowadays. Like, I am not the same person I was, 5 years ago, and neither are you.
Yeah, it's stuff that he said. It's not stuff that he did. Like, it'd be different if he should have went to jail for something like a crime that he did.
Yeah,
but this is nothing like that. It's not that severe.
Yeah, if he found out he was like murdering.
Oh yeah.
People, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
He changed. Well, it doesn't really apply to that, but still, I get. It's a different story.
He's a comedian, and he made some tasteless jokes. Is what happened. Like he should not have his career ruined over that. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Now, who wants a career in this industry, I right now have to be scared about what I post on like Twitter. Mm-hmm. You know,
maybe that's what got him there in the first place, though.
What do you mean?
Like, maybe that's what made him successful.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
What the fuck? Yeah, I know. It's so shitty, dude. But it's just kind of weird how, as a guy who's not even in the industry yet, I have to be nervous about what I post on Twitter. And I even say it, though, because I'm usually not the one to back down from my beliefs in any regard. So even on Twitter, I always post, like, even if I post something a little controversial, at the very end I put, watch this tweet get me fired from Hollywood in 10 years.
You
know, I always put that as the last sentence in the tweet because you never know.
It'd be great. Like you should, they should have like a bookmark thing.
Yeah.
So like you could personally go back to it just in case you do end up making it. It's like I gotta get rid of that.
I know. Yeah, a lot of people are deleting their Twitters. Just a lot of celebrities just out of fear.
I get it.
Out of protection and out of covering their own asses. They're like, look, we just need to, like, straight up be safe, not risk anything, and just protect our asses and just delete our freaking Twitters. So, oh, God, it's like, don't be Armie Hammer up in here. Have you heard what Armie Hammer did on Twitter?
No.
He, I don't think he understands Twitter and the concept of Twitter.
Okay.
So, you know how you can go to likes and see what you like?
Yeah.
What people like. He liked a bunch of, like, weird sex stuff and, like, bondage shit. And, like, it was, like, in droves of just bondage.
It's crazy because that used to be the retweet button, but now the like button is the retweet button.
Pretty much. It is kind of strange how you can see what other people liked. I even thought that was weird on Facebook when it would pop up in a notification. Like, it's almost like a share on Facebook, I haven't been on Facebook in a long time, but I remember that all of a sudden I would see a bunch of crap, and it's like, oh, so-and-so liked this, and it would show the post, and I'm like, I don't care what they liked. Like, if they share it, I get it. That's a different thing. Like, you want people to see it. But when someone likes something, I do not care that you liked your grandma's post about wishing you a happy birthday. Like, I'm sorry, but I do not care.
It's clouding.
It's clouding the timeline. I'm like, get this out of my timeline. I do not care. If you share it, that makes sense. You want to share it. That's why it's called sharing. But liking something, that shouldn't be thrown into the public like that. Anyway.
That's kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I would have saw it.
Yeah. It's probably, you can look it up online. There's probably some screenshots or whatever. I think he probably...
I don't want to see it because I want to...
Right.
Nothing like that.
No. I mean, like... That. I know, I understand what you mean. You wanted to see, like, the story. You wanted to see the story. Sicko.
Armie Hammer.
You sicko. Armie Hammer. Arm and Hammer. Armie Hammer.
That's a rapper. Arm and
Hammer. You know what a great rapper name would be? And Jordan told me this.
Oh, yeah?
Papa Cap.
Papa Cap!
Papa Cap.
Yes!
Yeah, dude.
Let's go, Jordan.
Let's do it. Shout out Jordan. Him and Brian made it up, apparently. Brian mentioned.
Okay. Brian mentioned the day.
Yep. Oh, okay. So apparently we got some trailers to talk about. So you want to talk about them?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's talk about trailer trash. All right, let's talk about the two films that are not the big ones, the big marvelous Marvel films.
Yep.
First thing, Kenneth Branagh is busy in 2019.
He is.
He's got a busy year. He's got two big ones coming out. Well, I think he's got a big one, and then it's kind of like a medium to small one coming out, sort of thing.
I can't tell which one is which by you saying that.
Artemis Fowl's the big one, obviously. It's Disney,
Okay.
All Is True is a new Shakespearean drama, of course, directed by Kenneth Branagh, who also stars in the film as Shakespeare, and this is basically about the later years of Shakespeare's life and after he became so famous and all that stuff. I mean, it's a Shakespeare movie from Kenneth Branagh.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you. I think I might have a different tone on these two trailers than you because I kind of liked the trailer, All Is True.
You kind of liked it?
I did. The cinematography was beautiful. Like, it was, like, really beautiful shots, really beautifully acted and shot. And I guess for this film, it is kind of like a film where you have to be interested in the subject matter of Shakespeare. Because there are a lot of Shakespeare films where I kind of struggle to get through. I mean, I'll just admit it. I'm not the biggest Shakespeare fan. I appreciate him, and he's a legend. I mean, he'll be remembered forever, obviously. But there are some Shakespeare films where I watch, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of brutal.
Yeah.
And this is not like a Shakespeare film in the sense of like it's his story. No, this is about Shakespeare. So even those films, like I liked Shakespeare in Love fine. I didn't see Anonymous. I heard that was pretty bad though. So I don't know. It's kind of like
I like Shakespearean drama. I really like complex narratives and stuff like that. It's just this. I'm like kind of not in the same boat as you. It's just like the acting is really what pulls you in.
Yeah, you got
for
some
a lot of
heavy
it,
hitters.
and it wasn't really doing it for me from the trailer.
Really,
but that doesn't really matter. It's a 2-minute trailer. That's not gonna.
True.
It's not gonna do it.
It definitely seems like a very slow kind of drama.
A slow burn movie.
A slow burn drama.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is cool. I like those too. It's a bit strange. I don't know the history of Shakespeare. I don't know if he married an older woman, but Kenneth Branagh's wife is Dame Judi Dench, and I'm like, dang, all right. I mean, I think there's a big discrepancy in the age there. I'm not 100% sure. But she's playing his wife. I mean, maybe in the real world, Shakespeare did marry an older woman. I don't know.
I didn't know. I don't know that either. Anyway, I mean, I might see it but I don't know. The trailer's not really doing it for me.
I see it. I think the trailer did do it for me because, again, it's shot beautifully. Like, there are some shots that I can just remember right now, like some really nice silhouettes and like some really cool just framing and lighting and slow motion that looked really cool. Like, some of it looked like a painting. Which is what Kenneth Branagh is really good at with his Shakespearean dramas, especially like with Hamlet. That is the most gorgeous looking Hamlet ever made, you know, more than the other ones. So he's really good at creating visuals and applying that to Shakespearean stories. But I feel like this film is going to be one of those films where it's like, look, you're either going to really like it because of the subject matter, or you're going to be bored to tears by it. You know, it's going to be one of those things.
Yeah,
and
it's
I don't know.
Not for everybody.
It's not for everyone. So I liked the trailer, but I wouldn't be surprised if I watched it and I was like, okay, this film is not for me. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I like that he makes what he likes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cool. So,
and his batting average
specializes in it.
Yeah, and his batting average is really good. He's made a lot. I don't think he's ever really made like a bad film per se, has he? Like a terrible one.
I couldn't tell you.
He's made like a couple ones that have kind of gotten little mediocre reviews. Like I heard the new Murder on the Orient Express.
It's okay.
I heard it's just basically okay. But he's never really made like a flop, like a dud, you know, like a really bad film. I mean, every Coppola has their Jack, and I don't think he's had his Jack yet. So, which is good.
I always forget that he made that movie. The one with Robin Williams.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is such a generic, like,
that was
lifetime
such a bad movie. That was such a bad
Coming
movie.
from one of the greats, that's so unfortunate.
I watched it out of sheer morbid curiosity because of Francis Ford Coppola, and I was like, this is crazy.
I watched it when I was a kid.
Yeah. I watched it, you know, I actually watched that movie twice. I don't know why. It was just on TV once, and I watched it again. I'm like, whatever.
Man, you'll really just, whatever channel when you push power, whatever button or whatever channel is on, like, you just stick with it.
Hey, man, I was just watching the original Miracle on 34th Street on AMC, and it's so good. You still haven't seen that, right?
I'm gonna be watching it for this list.
Yeah, you better, bro. You better.
There's two in particular that I'm gonna watch.
All right, cool. So yeah, all is true. Could be good, or it could be boring. I'm more in the good side. You're more on the.
I'm more in the neutral side.
In the neutral side. Okay, I got you. Okay, next trailer is Brightburn, produced by
James Wan.
James
Sorry.
Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah, James Wan.
James Wan.
That kind of would make sense though. I feel
that would totally be up his alley.
That would. It's like a horror film. See, okay, I actually kind of liked this trailer when I first saw it. I gave it like 4 stars, and then I rewatched it here with you, and then I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't that great, actually. But then I rewatched it again, and I'm like, wait a second, I actually kind of like this trailer. And then I went on Stardust, and I'm like, what are other people saying about it? And majority board is like 4-star reviews from Stardust.
Really?
About this trailer, yeah.
Oh, man.
I think it's an interesting story to tell. It's basically Red Sun from the Superman. You ever heard of Red Sun?
No.
It's basically like that. Like, what if Superman was evil? It's basically like an Elseworld story from DC Comics. It's called Red Sun because he actually crash lands in communist Russia rather than Kansas, America. So it's kind of like a what if story. Like, what if Superman was a communist, basically?
Yeah, those alternate timelines. And
yeah,
stuff like
that. So I don't know. I think like it has potential to be really, really interesting, and you're kind of harkening on the fact
it's kind of laughable to me.
But I think that's intentional, though.
I can't tell.
You know, James Gunn has done that. James Gunn has made some horror films that always have that dark comedic edge to them, and I think this film is no exception.
It might be because of the cast. I thought the cast choices were super
Elizabeth
weird.
Banks and
Banks and then
Roy from The Office.
Yeah, Roy from The Office.
They were both in Power Rangers too, both of them. So,
were they?
Yeah. Elizabeth Banks was Rita, and he was the Red Ranger's dad.
Okay.
So, very interesting.
Uh-huh.
He looks a little young to be a dad to the Red Ranger, who's like a 30-year-old man.
Those people, I think every single one of those people that played in that movie, except for like Black Ranger, is like younger than me. They're pretty young.
No, they're all very young. What's funny though is, I think what's funny is we watched the Man of Steel trailer right after it, because some of those shots were, I think, lifted from the Man of Steel trailer, and I didn't even notice that, and that makes me think, again, it's like a parody thing, because, or a satire or whatever, because even the font is the same.
The font is the same, and I was immediately after, I was like, well, let me, I know I've seen this trailer where it has the swing set, so I'm looking for the Man of Steel trailer with the swing set montage or whatever, and I couldn't find it.
We couldn't find it, so I guess maybe you were wrong.
I was wrong, but let me just tell you, I don't know if I can't tell if it's like laughable in a
intentional
pleasing way.
Yeah.
Like if it's like I actually like enjoy if it's I don't know if it's pleasurable to me. I can't tell.
I feel like this kind of is in the realm of what James Gunn usually does. Like even with Super or like Slither.
Oh, he did Super?
He did, yeah, with Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he directed that film. So he always has that like dark edge with him. I know that he's producing it, he's not directing it, but I feel like his fingerprints are sort of all over it. And even with the Belko Experiment, I feel like he does a lot of like comedy horror.
Yeah.
Dark comedy horror type stuff.
That's a tough balance, is comedy and horror.
Yeah.
If it's tipping in one specific direction, it could really collapse the other side of it. Mm-hmm. So
one thing I will say too is that last jump scare made me laugh.
Like it made me laugh so hard.
It was so funny because there's no like dun or like sound like that. It's just
it just happens.
It just happens,
and that's kind of a weird choice.
It kind of is.
Usually the sound design, all they do is just turn up the mixer, just max it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that usually is the scary part about it.
Yeah, but no, it's just like this little kid flying toward this like random woman, and like you hear like. It's just like, it's really funny. That's why I think it's intentional. If it is intentional, I'm looking forward to this film.
It's also kind of funny because I don't see that ever happening if Superman was like a villain. I feel like he would just jump into like random like houses and just start blowing it up, or just not even enter it, just start blowing it up. But he's going out there like a slasher villain, just single-handedly like doing one person at a time. It's kind of weird, you know.
I mean, well, we don't know how powerful this kid is exactly. I know he's supposed to be like Superman, but I don't know. Maybe he
doesn't have heat vision or anything like that.
I mean, well, it looks like he does have heat vision because he melts the door.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he melts the door.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe there's an arc with him. Maybe it is like he's starts off normal, but then he starts to get weirder and weirder until he starts going nuts.
For some reason, Superman in this universe likes to strangle people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He likes to levitate. He
likes to do it with his hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Very strange. I don't know. I think there's potential there. I kind of liked it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even kind of like it. I liked it. Yeah,
you liked it.
Yeah,
it's
I said
a 4.
it.
So I'm kind of on the negative right now, but I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We'll have to see. I've been wrong before, but I've been right before.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see.
Can't always be wrong. Can't always be right.
Exactly. All right. Let's start with our Marvel talk.
Okay.
Our marvelous Marvel talk.
So you start off with the small boy.
Yeah, the small boy.
I wouldn't even call
small
that.
girl.
Small girl.
Captain Marvel trailer 2 was released.
And it looks good.
And it looks good. It looks really good. I love the score of that trailer and that movie. And the next trailer, too. I love the score as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just the same trailer, just a little bit, like, expanded upon.
Denser.
And I'm like, that's good. I don't want the movie
too much more.
Yeah, with this and the next trailer we're going to talk about, it's like, I'm sick of things being handed to me on a silver platter.
Sure.
Like, just show me the little tidbits here and there, because people just don't know what they want. When they don't show enough,
they'll complain about both.
They'll complain about both. When they don't show enough, they complain. When they show too much, they complain. And it's very hard to find that middle ground, apparently.
Yeah.
Because people are always just complaining.
See, I think it's a great trailer. I mean, it does show a lot of the same thing. It explains itself a little bit more, like the whole old lady.
Yeah.
It explains that whole thing. And then it gives you like this sweet action scene that we can look forward to, and hopefully that's not the best thing that the movie has to offer. But she's just floating in, flying in space, just shooting.
Yeah, like going full Super Saiyan.
Yeah, it's like wow,
that's super dope.
We've never seen anything like this except for like Thor and like the most recent one.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and you get to go to a whole other planet. You get to see like a whole lot of different races again, and that's always cool. I really love the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, and the Captain Marvel storyline in the comics is very interesting. It's a little convoluted, and they're probably going to streamline it a lot for the movie, because like what it is like she's like in the middle of this Kree and Skrull war, and the Kree and Skrulls are basically, they're both bad. They're both really bad, but they've been in a war for like millions of years.
Yeah.
And, you know, Captain Marvel is basically thrown into the middle of it. And obviously that's carrying over from the comics, but what a lot of this movie does is this trailer does is basically try to explain to the audience who Captain Marvel is, and there's a lot of exposition in the trailer with Nick Fury in the car basically like spelling out for the audience who Captain Marvel is.
Which they probably won't even keep that.
Yeah, it probably won't even be in the movie, because I was talking to you about it, and I was telling Tyler that like you know, maybe they filmed that for the trailer, which happens a lot.
It does.
Especially with Marvel movies, like, you know that last shot in the Infinity War trailer where they're running down the field?
Oh, yeah.
The Russo said, oh, no, we filmed that for the trailer.
We filmed that for the trailer.
Yeah, they filmed a lot of stuff for
it
the
also,
trailer.
like, kind of plays on your expectations, because you're like, oh, well, these people have to be here at this specific time.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting as well.
Yes, because the Hulk was in that final shot.
Yeah,
the Hulk didn't even appear.
Hulk's, what the fuck, Hulk? Where's he at?
Yeah.
You're just waiting. You're like, I know it's going to come. But
You know it's going to come.
It doesn't end up coming.
Nope, never came. So I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, a lot of people... Oh, and then there's a certain critic out there who I'm a big fan of. But he was complaining about Nick Fury being all different. Like, it's like, why is Nick Fury petting a cat? Nick Fury would never do that. Like, that's not the Nick Fury I know. Exactly. It's not supposed to be the Nick Fury you know. It's supposed to be the younger, more inexperienced Nick Fury before he got that hard edge.
Yep.
You know?
And so you gotta... That's definitely not a flaw with like the film, because we don't know what happens at the end of this.
Yes.
It seems like a lot of people change. Circumstances change. It seems like she had to leave Earth, and...
For some reason, yeah.
For some reason, maybe people just hate her.
Yeah.
Nick Fury, like, has some sort of big dramatic moment that like changes his life or whatever.
Yeah.
Changes his personality. We don't know. So.
Exactly. So to see a different side of Nick Fury, plus when Samuel L. Jackson has been playing this character for 10 years now, it's cool to see a different side of that character.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the same character forever, and I highly doubt Samuel L. Jackson wants to keep playing the same character.
And he's always been a one-note character, too.
Right, exactly.
All business in the front, business in the back.
Exactly. He's like that hard-edged police captain, basically. That's all he is. He's the police captain who runs the whole shebang and, like, yells at people.
Yeah, but I want to see him at the bar. I want to see him cut loose.
Yeah, I want to see him cut loose. I want to see him, without his black trench coat and freaking... I want to see him have some fun and
this
laugh.
is what you're getting.
Yeah, we're seeing him. Apparently, he's like at a desk job at S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. Like, he's just basically a guy who's working his way up. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's what I want to see. Yeah. I want to see that.
A little more white collar.
Here's a little thing I'm a little nervous about, though, and maybe you'll back me up, or maybe you'll disagree. The only thing, the thing that stopped me from giving this trailer 5 out of 5 stars was some of Brie Larson's delivery of the lines. I know that it's a trailer, so it could be very different in the movie.
Uh-huh.
But there are some lines where I feel like there should be a little more gravitas to her delivery, but it doesn't come off. Like, she's like, I'm not going to start your war. I'm going to end it. But it's not really delivered with a lot of heft or, weight. So, I don't know. I could be nitpicking here. I basically am nitpicking. I mean, she's an Oscar-winning actress, so, I mean, I've seen her do great in other things.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a voiceover thing.
It could be.
In which case, voiceover work and acting is two completely different things.
It probably is a voiceover thing. She was probably just in a booth doing that. They're like, again, for the trailer.
And you can't really express yourself or whatever. It's a vastly different world.
Yeah.
Voice acting and acting.
Yeah. And I'm really, really curious where they take this character, because there's a lot of different lives that are flashing within her head. It cuts back to her previous life, and there's it looks like she forgot her memory. There's going to be a lot of mystery in this film, which I really like.
There's tons of shots of that, and I'm curious if they're going to kind of saturate it with all these backstories, like 7 different backstories or whatever. Right. It's like that's really gonna cut out a lot of the grit to it or whatever. The good shit, the fun stuff.
Kevin Feige has come out and said that this movie is a very unconventional origin story in general. So I really wonder. I have a theory, but I don't want to spoil it because there is. I feel like there might be some validity to the theory. I don't like theorizing for movies, but you know, maybe Captain Marvel isn't who she says she is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I do like theorizing, especially like for the next trailer that we talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Which we're gonna talk about next. But Captain Marvel, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
You can't not look forward to it, baby. Marvel, baby! And speaking of Marvel, baby, let's talk about the big one. The big one, as Christoph Waltz says. Dude, freaking Avengers Endgame. It has a title now, baby!
Yeah, man. It looks so good.
It looks so good. This is, I know I might call this embellishment or over-exaggerating. This is one of the best trailers I've ever seen. And you know why? Because it doesn't show you anything, but it still gets you hyped.
It shows you like 3 things, and it makes you want more.
It does.
I want so much more than what they gave me, but at the same time, like I know if they gave me too much, it would be a disappointment.
Yeah, and a lot of people are actually, not a lot of people, but there are a couple people, because the majority vote on this trailer is that it's amazing.
Yeah.
But there are a couple people I saw who were like, oh, you know, it doesn't really show much. It's basically just one scene of Iron Man with like one scene of Captain America talking to Black Widow, and then that's it. And I'm like, well, that's good. I don't want to know anything more than that.
I don't even know what the point of it is. I don't know who's the villain of this, because I've heard so many different things and stuff like that.
Is it still going to be Thanos?
Is it still Thanos? Because it looks like he's retired.
Yeah, he's like in the field walking. You don't even get to see a shot of him.
His armor is off and everything.
One thing that was crazy was that in Infinity War, that was almost Thanos' movie. Like, he was almost the main character in that movie.
It, yeah.
If you actually reversed like your expectations and viewed Thanos as a hero, the Avengers almost become the villains who are trying to stop him in that movie. You know, they're trying to stop him on his quest to do good, because he's a populist basically, and he thinks what he's doing is good. With this trailer, it focuses exclusively on the Avengers now. So it's like we're back to it being an Avengers movie and not so much a Thanos movie, I guess.
That's a smart move, though.
It is.
Because
it is.
This is their move. This is their chance to shine. This is their final hour.
Yeah.
And you really had to go big or go home when it came to Thanos, because they failed so many different times trying to get people connected to a villain.
True.
And this is the first time that I think this is the first time that it actually worked.
Same. Marvel, as much as I love them and I love all their movies for the most part, they've always had a villain problem.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like Loki, and I like Loki too.
I like Loki.
I thought Vulture was actually cooler than most. Because he actually had a motivation. Like, you understood where he's coming from.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys destroy the city and then profit off of us rebuilding the mess you made. It's like, what? You know, so I get that. But Thanos was the first one that's like, okay, this guy is the first memorable
They put
villain.
A lot of effort into him, a lot of screen time.
Yes.
They didn't really do enough of that for Vulture. I mean, you got the point of it because his cause was relatable.
Yeah.
For sure. But even for a Spider-Man origin story, they still focused a lot on Spider-Man, more so than they would with Vulture. That was their perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Is because they don't have to redo it for the 3rd time in the last decade or whatever.
Exactly. So Thanos was a real hit and run. Yeah. That was, was it home run? Not hit and run. Hit and run.
Oh, that just goes to show you how much we know about sports.
Yeah, I know, right? So did you went through the field goal and got the basket, right? Yeah, I got the basket through the field goal. No, yeah, it was great. It was a great trailer. I liked the monologue with Iron Man. That's like such a dour note to start it on, but that's a great place to start it on, because his delivery, Robert Downey Jr.'s delivery in that scene is so good.
Yeah, and then he does the callback too. It's always been about you, or it's always you, or whatever. Like, oh man. Oh,
it's so good, and it's funny how this dude is literally about to starve to death and like just die.
Oxygen's about to run out.
And freaking, he still has a joke because he like taps his Iron Man helmet and he's like, "Is this thing on?" It's like a little dad joke there.
He
He can't help himself.
Yeah, he can't help himself. That's it. That's just him.
So
but that's also got me wondering. That specific scene has me wondering what they're going to do with the Spider-Man trailer that's supposed to be coming out.
Yes, because they actually delayed the Spider-Man trailer, which I'm happy they delayed it. I don't know what they're going to do for the Spider-Man trailer. I don't know what they're going to do in general.
I don't know if it matters that they delayed it, though, because they delayed it only to the end of December, is what I heard.
Yeah.
But none of those movies are going to be coming out, so it's not like we have any new context.
Right. So they're kind of in a lose-lose situation. You're either going to spoil the fact that the character comes back, or...
Which you're going to do, obviously.
Right. Or you don't promote the film until a month before it's released.
Or it's going to be a very small teaser, and they introduce the villain, and they never even show Spider-Man.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, dang, okay, what are they going to do here? You know, I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do. Going back to Avengers Endgame trailer, though, where do you think Nebula is? Because Nebula was stranded on Titan with Tony. It was Nebula and Tony.
Didn't she have
together?
She came with a ship.
She came with a different ship, yeah.
Bet you any money she just takes off.
She just takes off? Wow, that's a bitch thing to do.
That is a very bitch thing to do.
I mean, she is a bitch, though. She's awful.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the character.
Never been a fan of her.
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
You know.
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. I like the character, but, like, man, she sucks. I'm like, man,
sucks.
Really, Nebula? Like, you're a bitch.
She probably does do something like that.
She probably does.
Leaves him stranded.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can see him doing is, like, learning alien technology and building a ship.
Yeah. I don't know
how he would do it in a day.
Yeah. It seems like this film is going to be more... How do I say it? Condensed, I guess, because there's less characters now. Because Infinity War was about bringing everyone together. Everyone. But now it actually seems like there's going to be less characters now.
Okay, yeah, but let me tell you something. Yeah. I just thought about this.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect world is if he does end up doing that. They use the same montages that they did in the original Iron Man. Like, they use the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Full circle. He has to relearn a new technology. Like, learns to
great.
build it from scratch.
Yeah, like he's, like, forging stuff.
Yeah, he hits it with the hammer. Yeah. He builds a hammer. Oh, man, that would be awesome. So cool.
That would be so sick.
And especially if, like, this ends up being, like, his final film. Like, something happens to him. That's a perfect way to end it.
It's very much heavily implied that this is going to be the last film for a majority of these characters.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting what they do with them. I don't know what they're going to do.
I mean,
in all honesty,
the obvious response would be to kill him off, but it seems too easy.
It seems too easy. I think there's going to be something different.
There's going to be... I feel like they're going to have some people that end up dying, but there's been some really cool speculation. If they ended up getting, like, the Time Stone, imagine, like, they send Captain America back in time, and he gets that final dance with Agent Carter.
That would be so amazing.
That would be beautiful, dude.
And maybe they'll pull a Star Trek where, because they went back in time, everything forward in time kind of changed, and maybe that's why some of the characters came back, like Black Panther and Spider-Man. You know, so maybe that's what happens. It's going to be interesting. I cannot wait. I'm saying interesting a lot. I always say interesting. That's my word.
It's a good word.
There's a lot of speculation, too, that Ant-Man is actually going to play a big role in the new one. It's like...
It seems like it.
Yeah,
because he clearly knows about the quantum realm, and he was able to escape it.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't seem like there's a lot of options but to just throw in the amplifying one to get him bigger and stuff like that. To end up leaving, I can't really see how else he would be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless, I mean, there's some speculation that, like, Captain Marvel saves him, maybe, but I'm like, I don't know about, like, how is she going to get into the quantum realm?
How is she going to know? Like, she just goes right to the computers and starts typing stuff in.
It just wouldn't make sense. Well, they're like, oh, maybe she goes through dimensions.
I don't know.
I
heard that they changed her powers from the comics a little bit, so maybe, I don't know, she might have, like, some sort of foresight thing.
If anything, maybe Ant-Man saves her. Maybe she's stuck in a time vortex, and that's why she hasn't aged. Maybe that's where she's been lost.
Maybe she's been in the quantum realm.
Maybe she's been in the quantum realm. Exactly. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. Were you? I'm personally not upset, but were you a little upset that they spoiled the fact that he got out, or were you like, or does it just make you be like, oh, how did he get out?
Yeah, I'm wondering more so how he got out. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I want to mention too. Hawkeye is back. And he's freaking Ronin now. For those of you who don't know, Hawkeye in the comics, I can't remember what happened. Oh, this is total comic book logic right here. In the comic books, Hawkeye died, of course, and then came back to life, of course, comic books. But he came back to life kind of mentally unstable, and he kind of went insane.
Okay.
He was still a hero, but he was very much more Punisher-esque than like Hawkeye was.
Oh, okay.
And so he's like a vigilante. And then he became Ronin, which is like the samurai character. So he became Ronin, which is kind of confusing because there's another Ronin who's the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy. So we got two Ronins going on here, but it's spelled differently.
With an I.
With an I,
So that's like samurai.
Yeah. So he's like a samurai, and he is wearing the Ronin gauntlets and the costume in the trailer.
He looked like a Doctor Strange monk. That's what I got out of it when I saw it. It's got like that dark green color.
Yeah, it's like gold and like greenish. Yeah, that's exactly it. And he freaking the way he cleans his blade is so sick. He's like shing.
Yeah, it seems like I heard that it's implied that he lost his family.
Yes, especially because of Captain America's voiceover. He's like, we've lost friends, we've lost family, and it shows him.
So heartbreaking.
That's so brutal. Holy crap! That would send him over the edge to go back.
That would send him over the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing too, I was telling you about it, but I want to mention it, is Jeremy Jahns made this entire theory. He's like, why are they so surprised to see Scott Lang? Like, is it because, like, when Thanos said he was going to remove 50% of all life, now that Scott Lang is back, like, all of a sudden the balance is off and it's not 50%? Like, it's not 50% of the world gone anymore? It's like 50% and a half now that he's back? Like, does that set off the balance? But if there's another planet and 20% of that planet goes away, but then 30% of Earth goes away, does that still count as, 50%? Like, why is Ant-Man, like, setting off the balance? And I'm like, or they're just shocked to see him because they thought he died.
Yeah.
And then he's back.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. You gotta watch the video. It's so funny because he went on this whole tangent. I'm like, no, I think it's the fact that they just thought he was dead.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you're not dead.
It was probably for comedic effect, but it's cool.
It could be. I thought that was super funny.
Uh-huh.
What else can we say about this trailer? I cannot wait for it. I almost don't want to watch the next trailer because I feel like this is enough. This is like enough.
Yeah, we just talked to my friend last night, and he was like, I was like, did you not watch it? He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I watched it. I watched it 100 times. I'm like, you said you weren't going to watch it. He's like, yeah, I couldn't wait.
Yeah, that's what my friend too. My friend David was like, I'm not going to watch anything. I'm not going to watch any trailer or anything. And then he just couldn't. He just couldn't help himself.
Day one.
Yeah, dude. Day one. Exactly. So I don't know, man. Are you going to watch the next one? I feel like I might. All right. Yeah. All right.
I'm not waiting.
There you go. So yeah, because I have a 2 trailer limit. I got
the
teaser, which this is basically a teaser, but it's it sets the tone and atmosphere perfectly. Such a dour trailer, but that's where it should be, But it ends with a little bit of hope with Ant-Man and making a joke.
Social media and with trailers being showed at like the movies, it's going to be hard to escape.
Yeah, you can't.
You're going to hear something, even if you were trying to avoid it. You're going to hear it like, what? This person dies in it.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I gotta know.
Even yesterday with Mark, our friend, he was like, did you hear about the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer? It was premiered in Brazil, and they got like a description of it or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, apparently like Mysterio's not a villain, and like he was saying, he's a good guy now."
What?
And I'm like, what? And it's like, okay, I don't like to hear that stuff. I just want to watch the trailer, But yeah, like you're gonna hear something about.
Yeah, we just heard it in passing.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what they're gonna do.
I'm so excited for this movie, though.
I'm so excited.
If they can stick the landing, this is exactly what Marvel needs even for like people like Red Letter Media. They don't really care for Marvel movies, but they give credit where it's due. They liked Infinity War a lot.
Yeah.
And if this succeeds, I feel like this is going to keep people invested even in the films that they think are lukewarm.
Yeah.
Because they know it's going to build up to something good.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where I'm at too. Like some of these movies I'm like, I can do without like Ant-Man 2 just before I even saw it.
Right.
Just as an example. But I'll continue watching them.
Yeah,
I have to continue watching
them. Right.
It's
such a cool thing to have like an episodic movie series now, and I think that's kind of the mentality. That's why they brought in the Russo brothers, because they came from TV. So they had like a serialized mentality to these films, and they added that serialized mentality to the films. And I think that's the best way to watch these films. You can't watch Infinity War as a standalone. You just can't.
Yeah.
At this point, it's impossible.
Well, you can't watch... For me, you can't watch Infinity War if 2 of them existed. It's kind of like watching Empire Strikes Back and not like finishing it up. It just ends on like such a dour note.
Yeah, exactly. So... Oh, dude, I cannot wait for this movie.
Yeah, so I can't wait either.
All right, we're going to do sometime in January. We're going to do
an anticipated list.
Our anticipated list. I'm just gonna spoil it for you. This one's my number one. I'm
gonna do a little bit of research before I say anything like that. But like, it's hard not to say that.
It's hard not to. Oh God, I love it. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. All right, we got a small memoriam here. I just wanted to pay tribute to James Green from Parks and Rec. Amazing actor. He was hilarious. He played Milton. Oh. Councilman Milton. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Great guy. Great funny. Rest in peace.
Great funny. Rest in peace.
Okay. List time.
List time,
baby. Pull the phone out. Oh, okay. Let's do it. Oh, God, let's pull out that phone, baby. Whip it out.
Okay, so a couple things here.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, we're doing our top 5 trilogies.
Top 5 trilogies. We never even told you what it was last week, and we're gonna not do that again. Hopefully, we can figure out something.
Yeah.
That's gonna be your turn, by the way. So you
you
think about it on your downtime.
Yes.
So for this list, it's going to look very similar between the two of us. I feel like our lists are going to be almost identical.
They could be.
I think it'll be like the same stuff on the list, but it's going to be in different order. Yeah. For sure. And of course, I do mine a specific way every time. I went through every single movie, and I'm like, well, this movie gets this score, this movie gets this score, and this one gets this score. And then I add all 3 of them together, and I based it completely off of what the score is all together, which in turn has made this list super weird.
Okay.
I would have never thought that some of these movies would be so low, or some of these trilogies would be so low because of other movies. But I'm sticking to my guns, and this is the way I'm doing it.
Okay. The way I did it is just... I mean, here are my caveats, basically, with these trailers, is because... Or with these trilogies... trailers.
We're still on trailer.
With these trilogies, is basically like... Even some of these trilogies... Motherfucker, dude!
Don't you dare get rid of it.
I won't. I've actually not had a lot of time to edit most of these, because I've been working on other films, so a lot of these have actually kind of gone unedited recently.
Oh, lovely.
But anyway, something like... I don't want to spoil some of my list, but like there are certain films out there, like Harry Potter, for example. That's a whole saga. You cannot just watch it as a trilogy. But there are other sagas that you can watch as a trilogy. You know what I mean?
I'm adding sagas to the list of potential stuff.
There you go. But like you can't count Harry Potter as a trilogy because there's more than 3 films. However, there are sagas with more than 3 films, but the first 3 can be viewed as a trilogy. I know that's confusing to people to like hear, but that was kind of my thing, is like, first of all, the quality had to be there for all 3 films. Even if there was a couple dips, the quality still had to be there.
Okay, so you're looking for consistency, which is pretty much why mine is like this.
Yeah, so there are some dips in some of these, but overall, I still feel like the quality was maintained throughout the start to the finish of the series. And again, like I said, even some of these have a 4th one, but you can honestly watch the trilogy and then forget about the 4th one. You're like, okay, the 4th one...
Like, it started off as a trilogy, then they waited like 20 years to add one more. And that doesn't work. That doesn't really change... the narrative for it. It's still going to be a trilogy to me.
Yeah, there are sagas that started as trilogies. Something like Harry Potter
it was intended to be a trilogy.
Exactly. It was intended to be a trilogy. Something like Harry Potter is not intended to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
So
because they have like 7 books.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our caveats for that. Do you have any honorable mentions?
I don't actually, but I do have stuff that like doubled up on a number, basically because they had the same score.
Okay, well, I guess I'm alone here on honorable mentions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first one is the Captain America trilogy. This one was a weird one. I put it in honorable mentions because with that trilogy, you do have to watch other films like Avengers 2. You have to watch Age of Ultron to really understand Civil War, you know, in a lot of aspects, because Vision's introduced in Age of Ultron. And so if you watch Captain America 1, 2, and then 3... It's like, wait, who is this robot guy all of a sudden? Who is this witch all of a sudden?
And those characters are defining characters in Civil War. So
so it's not as much of a standalone trilogy as some of these other ones. That's why I put it in honorable mentions. But I will say the reason I also put this in honorable mentions is because I feel like in the Marvel Universe, there's only 3 characters who have had trilogies, which is Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. I feel like Captain America is the only character out of those 3 whose each installment has gotten better with each one.
And that's the way it should be.
Exactly. So Thor had a big dip in the second one, and then Iron Man also had a a slight dip with the second one and then a big dip with the third one. So, in my opinion. So that's my first honorable mention. My next honorable mention is the X-Men trilogy. I know a lot of people hate that third one. I love that third one. I know we've talked about that before. Yep. I really love that trilogy. The Dollars trilogy is an honorable mention for me. Okay. It's a great trilogy.
It's a bit surprising to me, but okay.
Why that it's an honorable mention?
Yeah, that's an honorable mention.
Yeah, I know. I like it because there's no real thematic through line throughout the trilogy. It's kind of like almost an anthology in a way. It's based on the same characters, the same guy.
Yeah.
But they're different stories, I guess.
So it's riding that fine line between like trilogy and spiritual trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. It rode that line. That's why I put it in honorable mentions. And but they're all amazing films.
So would you put it in spiritual ones as well?
I think I would. I would probably put it in a spiritual trilogy. In all honesty.
So then I kind of feel like it's going to be middle of the road for both of them.
That's true.
And that's
it's kind of in that gray area.
Justice as much as it should be.
I know, because it's such a good trilogy. It's one of the best trilogies ever. But it's in that gray area of like, I don't know. Is it a trilogy or is it kind of more standalone?
I mean, it's a tough one to talk about.
It is. But overall, great film. Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and Good Ben the Ugly.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
And they don't go in order.
No, they don't. Yeah. So, that's Clint Eastwood's Western Man with No Name trilogy, for those of you who don't know. Next honorable mention is Evil Dead trilogy. I just put it in there because it's a fun little horror trilogy. I like the second one and the third one.
I've never seen the third one.
Army of Darkness. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I gotta watch it.
And the first one is a little bit of all three of those films are very different from each other, but they do have a through line, especially with the second one, because the second one ends with him waking up in the medieval times or whatever. So, and then that's what Army of Darkness is about. So, there you go. I really liked Evil Dead. And my last honorable mention is Toy Story, the Toy Story trilogy. I really like those
films.
Son of a
bitch.
Yeah, I really love those films.
They should have been on there.
I really love those films. Every film of that has been great. As a matter of fact, in that trilogy, every film has gotten better for me. I liked 2 more than 1 and 3 more than 2, so there you go.
I'm going to add this up real quick.
All right, then. Do it. So yeah, Toy Story is definitely on my honorable mentions. I don't know why it's on my... I don't know why it wouldn't be in my top 5. I guess it just narrowly missed out on some of the better trilogies. Okay. I actually got some maybe controversial ones in here, considering that some of the installments in my trilogies, are kind of known to not be up to par with, the first 2 installments or the first and the third one, maybe even.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah. You go with your heart.
I'm going with my heart.
I love it.
All right, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is a tie, coming in at the score of 27.25.
Mm-hmm.
The Godfather and the Back to the Future trilogy.
There you go. Okay.
The Godfather. For this list, I have been putting it off forever. I just watched the third one.
Yep.
And it was pretty good. That's honestly the worst one by a mile.
It is the worst one, but even though it's the worst one, it's not like a bad film.
It's not a bad film. It definitely
just made disappointing
relives
decisions.
Its past. It's a very nostalgic film, and I kind of feel like that's important for Francis Ford Coppola because he was going through a rough patch, or he was about to start going through a rough patch of filmmaking.
Yeah.
This is easily like the worst looking film, visually. I mean, it still has the same sepia tone or what look to it.
Yeah, it has that same orangish, tealish.
Yeah,
not teal,
it's still got the same
look.
aesthetic. It still has the same the themes music wise and stuff like that. It's just
some of the acting
doesn't really his characters don't really carve their own fate. They just kind of relive in the past. They're always talking about stuff that happened in the past and kind of trying to get over those things.
Yeah. A lot of people are always like, oh, The Godfather is the prime example of the third one never working and the third one always sucking. But, I think if you really look at the third one, it's not as bad as people say. It's just when compared to Godfather and Godfather Part 2.
Exactly what it is.
It's a huge step down. It doesn't hold a candle to them. But honestly, it's not that bad of a film.
Though that movie...
The acting, though, is pretty bad in some parts.
Yep. You were right. Sofia Coppola is such a bad actress.
She is.
Okay, and I gotta say that the ending of this movie was half genius, half garbage.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated with the way it ended. I was like almost
kind
confused.
Kind of abrupt.
It was so abrupt. It was like a 30-second like, final cut, like final
it was
scene.
it was like this happens and you're like wow, but then it fades to this other thing and then boom, done. It's like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh, come on, man, really? It's just so weird.
Yeah. Sofia Coppola, great director, don't get me wrong, but as an actress, ooh, that was bad.
So for those movies, obviously, for me, Godfather is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a huge deal for me, like getting into film and stuff like that. Same with the second one. They're both 10s to me. Yeah. And this is the only one that drags it down with a low 7.
Oh, wow.
And for Back to the Future, I love all the Back to the Future
movies. They're great.
They're great. The first one comes in, and it probably deserves the 10, but it comes in at a high 9 for me. It's almost there.
A high 9? You should almost just put it as a 10. I
need to rewatch it again. Yeah. Honestly, some of these movies I just need to rewatch. But for the other ones after that, they come in at high 8s. I used to love, and honestly, it was the first one that I saw. The first one I saw was the second one.
Okay. Yeah.
When I was a kid, and I really love that movie. But now, I mean, it gets a bit convoluted in areas. Yeah. And same thing with the third one, except for the third one, I really like the direction with it. I really like the Western atmosphere. Me too. And it's like a comedic Western. Yeah. I really dig that. I think that one doesn't get enough love.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. That's a lot of people's least favorite. You know what's weird? Is that critically, the first one and third one are the best received, and the middle portion was still, people liked it, but they said it was the worst of the trilogy. But weirdly enough, in today's world, for some reason, people like millennials really gravitate toward the second one a lot.
It's because we just hit that year, and we're always like, oh, we didn't even get hoverboards or anything like that. I'm going to turn on the light.
Yeah, go ahead. Turn it on. Yeah, so a lot of people gravitate toward the second one now, and I have a friend that's one of his favorite movie series of all time. He loves the first two, and he said the third one's not good. And I'm like, dude, the third one's great, though.
The thing is, you have to like Westerns. It's a different atmosphere.
It is a different atmosphere. They changed it up, but that's what I appreciate about it. But I don't want to talk about that too much for some reason. For a reason.
27.25 on both of those. Great scores. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is the Spider-Man trilogy.
Okay.
By Sam Raimi.
Yep.
I know the third one, again, I've defended the third one so much, so I'm not going to speak too much on it. But the consistency, again, is amazing. If you want to be consistent, that's great. But, the second one of this trilogy is amazing, and it blows the other two out of the water, even though the first one also is so good. Dude, there's so much heart in this trilogy, and there's so much themes that Sam Raimi put in there. The first one is about acceptance. The second one, what was the second one about? No, the second one is about acceptance, and the third one is about forgiveness, something like that. I couldn't look it up, but I know that the third one had a huge theme of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then the second one was acceptance.
It shows that we didn't put a ton of time into this. We were actually watching a specific trilogy for this list, and it turned out it's not even going to be on this list because it's a spiritual trilogy, which we're going to do another list of that at some point in time.
Yes. So I'm not going too in depth with most of these, especially because I've talked to death about my love for the Spider-Man films, Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. So I'm honestly just going to leave it at that. Sam Raimi's a genius, and these films are genius. A lot of people don't like the third one. I think people are way too harsh on that third one. The third one's not even the worst Spider-Man film ever made. I think the third one is better than both Amazing Spider-Man films, with Andrew Garfield. And it's honestly
understandable.
It's a different kind of conclusion to the series as a whole, to the trilogy. It's not as triumphant with Spider-Man swinging or whatever, but it's very thematic.
It doesn't even really have a wrap up.
No, but
it kind of just ends.
It ends, but it ends in a thematic sense
because
I think it was in the first or second one where Mary Jane said, "I want to sing on stage with you in the front row." And throughout the series, the second one and the third one, Peter has always had a hard time with that, balancing it and stuff like that. And then the third one literally ends with her singing on stage with him in the front row, even though it's a dive bar instead of a Broadway stage,
Yeah.
So it's kind of bittersweet. It really is a bittersweet ending.
The way it ends, they there's like a severed between them anyway. Like she got what she wanted, but also there's like distance between them now at this point.
Yeah, so now they have to work.
They have to rebuild their relationship.
You got to rebuild it, and it ends. It doesn't show that. That's very risky. I thought that was very brave of them to end it that way.
It did not like fit. There's still fate to be shown and stuff like that. So that's why I said it doesn't really have like an exact ending or whatever, like a wrap up.
Right. But overall, I love all three of these films, so that's my number 5.
Yeah, I get that, man. I get that.
What's your number 4?
Number 4.
For show.
Coming in at a flat 28.
Okay.
Indiana Jones.
Ooh, nice.
Raiders 10. I love that movie. I think it's the best action movie of all time. There's so much to it. It's so lighthearted. It's so funny. It's so good.
Can I just stop you right here so we can talk about it? My number 4 is Indiana Jones as well.
Great.
So we can just talk about it.
Yeah. So let's double up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Raiders is it's fantastic. Roger Ebert put it as like I think he said it's like his favorite action movie of all time too.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it.
I love the callbacks to like old 1930s B series serials. You know what I mean? Like these like adventure serials.
Oh, where he would like travel from place to place.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of callbacks to that. This film really reinvented the adventure genre. You know?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
It was so good. And the techniques that Spielberg used to like reveal certain characters, like the fact that, I mean, this has been commented on so many times, but when Indiana Jones was first revealed in Raiders, they did it in such a creative way where they always like framed him from behind and they kept it mysterious.
Best first impression ever. I think besides maybe Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Yes. So good. It throws you in, but you're captivated from the moment that film starts.
Oh, it's so fucking masculine, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so good. Badass.
So good. Raiders is like...
And it's like the perfect level of like intellect and like masculinity between this man. This man is like perfect.
Yes. He's not like super macho, but he's macho enough to be like... He's still vulnerable is what I'm trying to say.
He's not like a Mary Sue.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so he's fantastic as a character, and I think it really shows the best in that specific entry. I think it's my favorite Spielberg movie like of all time. I love it.
I could see it.
I could watch that movie anytime.
It's so good.
Any time of the week.
So let's talk about the dip that people say, which is its prequel, even though it came out afterwards. Temple of Doom. I think Temple of Doom gets too much hate. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay, I really like Temple of Doom. Don't get me wrong. I have it at a high 8. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, it doesn't hold a candle.
The fucking woman in that movie, she's the worst. She
is the worst.
She's like, if she was a scream queen, she would have been like
amazing.
The worst scream queen.
Yeah. No, she spends like 90% of that movie screaming, whining and screaming. She is a little unbearable.
Yeah, and it's like, why, Indy? Why are you going for her?
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on.
She's a lounge singer, man.
I really like...
Because Miriam was amazing.
The introduction to this film, though. I really like the introduction. It takes a bit of a dip in the pacing through the middle portion of it before they get to the temple. But I love the Broadway, like... musical moment in the beginning. Oh, that was cool.
That was such a good scene.
Such a good scene. There's so much going on.
And
with it.
There's a lot memorable about it too, like Kalima. Like everyone still quotes that. As much as people don't like Temple of Doom, everyone always quotes that. You know?
Oh yeah.
Kalima.
When he like pulls
out the heart.
Man, that's so cool.
This film, by the way, was basically responsible for creating the PG-13 rating. Did you know that?
I did hear that.
Because it was so much in the middle ground. People were like, what do we do about this? It was PG, but so many parents complained. They're like, our kids can't see this, whatever. And then they created that middle ground with PG-13. And then here's a little trivia fact for you. The first movie to ever come out with a PG-13 rating in theaters officially was The Flamingo Kid.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but I know it's the first PG-13 movie ever released.
Flamingo Kid.
Yeah.
You've carved your place into
film history,
the fabric of film.
Yes, which is strange because that's the only reason I know that movie. I don't even know what it's about. That movie.
So yeah, I think it's a great entry. Don't get me wrong, it's a great entry.
It is. It's kind of strange though that they did go the prequel route though. They made it a prequel. Do you think that's kind of strange or like? I mean, I guess it makes it more standalone. But like.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's.
I think out of all of them, that's the most interesting place out of all of them is the Temple of Doom has a fascinating world.
Exactly, and it tried to do it did something different,
like underbelly of like slave trade or whatever. Like it's crazy. Like,
well, yeah, it did something different than the other two films did. You know, the other two films sort of went back, or especially the third film rather, went back to that formula of like the Nazi Germany thing with like the Nazis and stuff like that. You know, this one had a different section, like a different villain group and a different kind of a different atmosphere in a sense. You know. But it was. I still think Temple of Doom gets a little too much hate.
And I love the Last
Crusade. Yeah,
I really do. I need to rewatch it.
Me too. Honest. I haven't seen that in forever.
It was our second trilogy that we did when we started the whole December trilogy. So it's been about 7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was my favorite or my second favorite of them.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Oh, it's great, and Sean Connery in that film is amazing.
Has one of the best. Besides the first one, I think it has the. Oh man, it's so hard to decide between Temple of Doom and that one for best intro. I really like the backstory one where how he got the hat. That's a good intro.
And he even got the scar on his chin from his whip.
Yeah, he got the whip.
Yeah.
For the first time, you get to see everything, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that was so great. He freaking fell into the pile of snakes, and he's like, ugh!
And it didn't feel like it was. It had to shoehorn it all in. It was just a perfect scenario of how it would have all of it in there. Okay, maybe it did feel like a little bit shoehorned, but it's
great.
It's so fun and playful. It's so great.
Young Indiana Jones, man. I'm telling you.
Not the show, though.
No.
Not the show.
No. I've never seen that show, honestly. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
So, yeah. What?
And also, just to like go back to what we said before we even started this list, this series does have a fourth movie. But, again, that movie you can almost ignore and watch this as a trilogy.
It came out like 20 years afterwards.
Exactly. So you can view this as a trilogy. So for those of you who are like, oh, but Indiana Jones is a quadrilogy, it's not a trilogy. It's like...
It wasn't intended to be anything more than a trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. And the fourth one is so disconnected, it's crazy. You know, you can watch the fourth one just on its own, or you can just disassociate it with the trilogy altogether, and it wouldn't change anything.
There's something about these ones where it could come off as like sci-fi, but it's like embedded in like biblical.
Yeah.
Yes. So it almost becomes like fantasy in a way, but that one is super
that one's
sci-fi.
So sci-fi. It went way too sci-fi, and that's the thing. It went sci-fi to the film's detriment.
Yeah,
you know,
to a negative level.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I can't buy this anymore because. With the Indiana Jones film, there's always that supernatural element and like the fantasy element and biblical side.
I guess
it's mostly biblical.
Supernatural would have been a better word for it.
Yeah, but no, I mean, the first one and the third one are biblical. Yeah. You know, but to go straight up sci-fi and be like, oh no, there's aliens now is like, no.
That ruins just everything about if they were to do. More movies. The back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, oh my god, there's aliens here too. Like, you can expect to see them at some point or whatever.
And I'm going to say this, Spielberg, I know you're listening right now. I know you're our biggest fan.
Yep.
Please don't do a fifth one. I know there's talk of you wanting to do a fifth one. Please don't. Please, just don't.
Even if you want to, like, try to...
make amends for the fourth one.
Yeah. Fix the blemishes. Don't try.
Yeah, because sometimes when you try and fix the blemishes, you just make it worse, you know?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've mentioned it to you before on the podcast, but have you seen the behind the scenes of Indiana Jones 4 where they're interviewing Spielberg? And you could tell Spielberg never even wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's right. You did tell me that.
He was basically just pressured into it by George Lucas. Yeah. George Lucas wanted to call this, and I don't know if he was joking because he was so deadpan while saying it, but he said, I originally wanted to call it Indiana Jones and the Saucer Men. That was my thing, but Stephen was very, very much didn't want to do that, and I was like, he was very serious when he said that. He was very.
That's real bad.
Yeah, dude, you should watch this. We should watch this afterwards.
Shit, that's a terrible name.
It is so bad. We should watch this after this podcast because it's kind of fascinating.
Oh, I see a documentary in the near future.
Yeah, for real. I mean, this basically was a documentary. Indiana Jones and the Saucer Man. I was like, oh my god, no. Okay,
it's the new B movie entry.
Yeah, for real. They leaned. They were. Indiana Jones was a huge tribute to old B movies. Crystal Skull fucking took it way too far back to the B movies. They took it way too far back to the B films. It's like, I get what they were doing. They wanted to pay tribute to old sci-fi B movies.
Yeah.
But please, no. No, it came from outer space and, like, you know, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Don't. No, please no.
Day the Earth Stood Still, that's a great movie.
It is a great movie. That's actually a B movie that kind of turned into, like, an A movie.
An A movie.
Yeah.
So, is that all you got to say?
That's all I got to say about Indiana Jones,
Right, so now technically it'd be my number 3, right? Because
yes.
you did your number 4
yes.
too. Coming in at number 3.
Trace.
It's a tie.
Okay.
Between the scores, 28.25, so just barely over Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
The Before trilogy and the Dark Knight trilogy and the Toy Story trilogy. I forgot about that.
Damn, dude.
Because you just reminded me of that.
Yeah. The reason, by the way, I did not put the Before trilogy on this is because I haven't seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen the first one. Yeah, so I saw parts of the third one. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see the second one at all. So that's the reason I didn't put the Before trilogy on here.
So then I'll just talk about...
sorry, but Dark Knight Rises for me, I love the first two. I didn't like the third one. That's why I didn't put it in there.
Let me get into that.
Yeah, go step by step.
Before trilogy, Sunset, solid 9,
mm-hmm.
solid 9. It's a one night event for these two people, like on a date essentially. Mm-hmm. It does feel like it wraps up like 3 weeks worth of content
mm-hmm.
of a date into that one night. They even start to get like into these are the things that I don't like about you and stuff. It's like it pushes too much into it.
Yeah.
But I get what it's trying to do. It's like the one night that really changes your perspective of love. It's like the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Really. That's what that entry is, and it's fantastic. I love that entry. The second entry, Sunrise, has a very abrupt ending for a movie trilogy that you know that you're gonna wait an additional 10 years to see the rest of it, and you don't really know what's going to happen with them, and that's kind of the frustrating part about this one. It's the thing that kind of negates a lot of the progress that it made, because it's a really good entry. It's like the rekindling of a relationship.
Right.
That's what that part is. And then my favorite one, Midnight, is a 10. I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's not at all what I was expecting before I went into it. I thought this was going to be the one where it's like, well, you got what you wanted, and this is like the settling down. You could still find happiness in the later portion of your life and stuff like that. But it's really like the thrill of the chase is what this one is. It's very different than what I had anticipated, and it really identifies like the fact that all this work that you put into 20 plus years of work trying to build up a relationship, it can ruin in just one like argument.
Damn.
And it's like, I'm not spoiling the movie by any means. This is not like how it ends. It's just identifying that one moment, and it takes like 40 minutes to go real deep into that one conversation.
Damn.
And it's fucking amazing. This movie, you have to see that movie if any of them.
Richard Linklater is really good at creating real relationships between the actors, like believable relationships on film.
These two actors. I mean, obviously he's really good friends with Ethan Hawke now, but when he was hiring them, or like looking for them, casting them, he wasn't sure about either one of them until both of them got into the same room together and started having a conversation, and sparks started flying. He's like, I need to put these two together in this film. So it's like, sometimes it works out like that. It's like, okay, they're good actors, don't get me wrong, but like, you have to have a good relationship between the two.
Yeah, you do.
It really helps.
You do.
So for that, so Sunset, solid 9, high 8 for Sunrise, and a 10 for Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dark Knight, Batman Begins, solid 8. I honestly think it's the worst one.
That's crazy because I think it's the best one.
Yeah, that's not.
And it's the best. It's the best Batman origin story ever told.
That's fair, but I mean, how often have they gotten it right in movies?
They got it right with the
one with
89 Batman with Michael Keaton. Tim Burton did. But I thought this film did it better because it dived so deep into it. It dived into the psychology of Batman more than, maybe not more than The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight really went into it with like the Joker and like how that's the foil, the antithesis of Batman. But
they did a real bold move in Batman Begins, kind of making the villain out to be like this twist, and it's like you wasted a lot of potential, like building this character up, just for that one big reveal.
See, I don't know. I kind of knew that he was the villain though. You know, I
knew that because the movie had already come out and that people had been talking about it for like a year before I saw it.
Right. Plus, if you're a comic fan and you know what Ra's al Ghul looks like, you're like, okay, yeah, that's Ra's al Ghul. You know, so I don't think that ruined it for me. You know, I like the whole League of Shadows thing, and they obviously grounded Batman.
Yeah.
A lot, because Ra's al Ghul in the comics is like a mystical character. You know, he's immortal, like he lives forever.
And that's what we talked about, how they wanted to make like real life villains.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of having like Killer Croc or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And Scarecrow I thought was dope. I loved
Scarecrow was pretty cool. I really love Cillian Murphy.
He went out like a bitch.
But I mean that's not the first time that it's happened.
No.
Or that is the first time that it's happened, but it has happened again.
Yeah.
In the third one.
And The Dark Knight's great. You know, Joker is really, I mean, he steals that movie. It's more of a Joker film than a Batman film, in all honesty. You know,
that's kind of why I like it though.
No,
you gotta get like this is a prime example of like getting the villains right. Can make the film immensely better.
See, that's why it kind of disappointed me with Dark Knight Rises, because I feel like with The Dark Knight being such a Joker focused film, I feel like okay, now it was time to go back, round it out to like be a Batman film again. But Batman's gone for like 80% of that film. You know? For
me, Bane was a great villain. And the way that they dealt with they used him to kind of restructure superhero films. And they kind of did it again with like Black Panther. It's like halfway through the movie, the villain wins.
Yeah.
The villain gets what they want. And it wants. And it's kind of like a big deal. It shifts everything.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, to a positive level, I will defend the shit out of fucking Dark Knight Rises. I
didn't like Bane personally. I just did not. I don't know.
I still quote Bane. I know every single line that man says.
I never thought he was that threatening. In all honesty. Oh, you're a child.
He's just a better version of Batman. He's just a stronger version of Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I just never.
And no one was able to threaten him before because no one could topple him physically.
Yeah.
The only Joker can outsmart him, which makes for a better film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A more interesting
film.
Well,
have you read the novelization of Dark Knight Rises? Apparently, Joker's the only one Bane chose to lock up in Arkham Asylum. Apparently,
because he was afraid of him.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
But they actually intended for if Heath Ledger didn't pass away, they intended for him to be in it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
That would have been great.
Would have been like interesting.
Yeah, I would love. It would almost be like a gang war situation, or like a struggle for the power sort of thing.
For me, I think he would have just sat back and watched.
You think so?
Watch
the chaos unfold.
Because this is exactly what he prophesized.
I mean, Scarecrow was in it.
Yeah, and he was an interesting character too. The judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of strange. You got the sense that, like, wow, like, all of these insane people are running the city now. And it's scary.
And there's nothing Batman could have done about it. It was such a cool storyline for him.
Yeah, I just... he had basically had to, like, get out of the pit, which I thought was a pretty interesting story arc. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen the film in so long, so I'm trying to remember what I didn't like about it, but I honestly can't because...
It's fine. It's fine.
You know what I didn't like? Talayla al Ghul. I thought...
Talia
al Ghul, yeah. I thought it was like, I don't know, I didn't enjoy that aspect of it that much. And her death scene was laughable. It was really bad.
I can't even remember it.
Yeah, her death scene has almost become a meme now.
Oh, really?
Because of how bad it was. She was like, "You will never stop it." Like, it was like really bad. Like, just the way it was. You know?
I don't really remember it. Like I said, I want to rewatch it, but I have seen that movie. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and I've seen it a bunch ever since.
I remember always being on the edge of my seat. Like I remember seeing it in theaters, and the first thing I said when I walked out was, "Wow, that was an intense movie." You know, it was intense.
It was intense.
You know?
For ratings for that, Batman Begins, solid 8. Dark Knight, 10.
Damn,
Of course it is. And then Dark Knight Rises is a high 9 to me, man.
Damn, high 9?
It's a high 9. I will defend the shit out of that movie.
Shit, dude.
I want to rewatch it just so I can talk about it in, like, excruciating detail. And I kind of want to watch it with you.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what you think is a negative about the movie, and I want to tell you what I think is a positive about the movie.
I just remember some things being goofy. Like, I thought Bane's voice was a little goofy. I thought some of Just Bane in general was goofy. Robin John Blake I thought was kind of dumb. at the very end.
That's fair. It's frustrating, but it's not like a.
I saw that coming too.
It's not a plot hole. But a lot of people say use the word plot hole for that film a lot, and it's like there's plenty of moments when I don't think it's a plot hole.
I just think it was just dumb.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But a lot of people say like, what's for example, what's a big one?
Like a plot hole that's not really a plot hole.
Oh yeah, this is a plot hole. They led all these men into like all the police officers into the
one location,
and it's not a flaw with the film. It's a flaw with the character because that police chief was trying to like show his power over Gordon. So in order to do that, he made a fatal flaw.
Right. Yeah, that didn't bother me too much. One thing I did was I thought Anne Hathaway was really miscast as Catwoman. Okay. Personally, I thought I didn't find her to be Catwoman. I didn't find her very threatening because Catwoman in the comics, she uses like her sexuality to like to her advantage, and like she's kind of threatening and intimidating at the same time. Mm-hmm. And you know, she's always kind of like playing her own little game. And they kind of touched on that in Dark Knight Rises, if I remember correctly, but I don't think they utilized it very well. And I thought the romance between Batman and Catwoman kind of came out of nowhere. She just kisses him. And I'm like, oh, okay. I do like the ending, though. The ending shot in the cafe.
Oh, so good.
A lot of people try to associate that with, like, Inception. Like, oh, is he really seeing that? Yes, he is. Because even Christian Bale came out and said, or was it Christopher Nolan? It was Christian Bale or Christopher Nolan. One of them came out and said, look, like, Inception, yeah, it ended that way. But not every film of mine or every film of Christopher Nolan's is going to end that way, like the ambiguous ending. Yeah. Like, no, this is not Inception. That was not ambiguous. Like, that's, you know, he's seeing them. So, and plus, why would Alfred imagine Bruce Wayne with Catwoman? That would be a weird thing to imagine.
Does he even know her? Really?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
he doesn't even know her. So why would he imagine? Why would he like imagine Bruce Wayne with Catwoman? It wouldn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like
people don't think They don't think.
They don't think.
And since you brought it up, Toy Story would have been on there.
Yeah, Toy Story's great.
I messed it up.
Toy Story's so good.
I messed up. Although, unlike a lot of people, I think the worst one is the third one.
Mm-hmm. I think they're all very equal in quality, to be honest with you. I don't even think there is a worst one, to be honest with you.
My favorite one's the first one, because it was the first movie that I fell in love with, I guess. If I had to say, as a kid, that was the one that I watched the most out of any animated film.
I could probably say that. I used to collect. I remember having like Buzz and Woody toys.
Oh, really?
Stuff like that.
I did too.
Yeah, it was so great.
Good stuff.
Yes, my number 3, right, is what?
Yeah, number 3
is Godfather, the Godfather trilogy.
Okay.
We talked about it, so I don't know what to say.
I'm sure we agree on most of it.
We agreed on all of it, really.
Yeah, all of it.
I actually started with the second one, which is strange, but it's kind of a prequel. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
It's a prequel, half
sequel, which is really revolutionary for its time. I was actually in a car with my friend Nick recently, and he was like, "You see The Godfather?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why is Godfather considered so good? I don't get it." And I had to go on this thing. I'm like, because it revolutionized filmmaking and storytelling, and it was the sequel was the first one to really do a prequel sequel storyline in general. Plus the performances are freaking amazing, legendary. And also he's Italian too, or part Italian. So I was like, "And you're Italian, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "It's huge in the Italian culture. It's a giant in that, you know. It's a huge love letter to the Italian culture." And and it's a crime. It's a crime drama that's so enticing.
It was so profound for its time. It was such a big step for violence and stuff, but violence with a meaning behind it.
Yeah,
a balance between
it was never
business
gratuitous
and family.
It was never gratuitous.
Yes,
and it progressed the story. So yeah, great series. The third one is a dip, but I don't think the third one is as bad as everyone says. The only reason people think it's as bad as they think it is because you're comparing it to the first two, which are, again, some of the best films ever made. Both those films won freaking Oscars. I think, is Godfather Part 2 the only sequel to ever win an Oscar?
That's an interesting question.
I don't even know. Or Best Picture, at least.
You're saying Best Picture?
Yeah, Best Picture, yeah.
It's gotta be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So, it's the only sequel to ever win Best Picture. Not nominated, obviously, but
yeah, because Lord of the Rings, the second one was nominated.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Lord of the Wings. Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Wings.
Lord of the Wings. The third one did win. So I guess that's a sequel. So yeah, maybe it's not the only sequel, but it was. It's got to be the
first. And that swept too.
It really
the third
did.
Got was it 13?
13 wins. Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. We talked about it to death. So.
Ready for my number 2?
Yeah.
Coming in at a solid 29.
Okay.
Solid 29.
Uh-huh.
Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Nice. That's a good
pairing.
Pairing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like two opposite ends of the spectrum. Fantasy and sci-fi, which kind of go together because they're both like kind of inaccessible.
Yeah.
For certain people, obviously it's the original trilogy. So New Hope has always been my favorite.
New Hope is great.
New Hope is what started it all. Every single innovation that the films had was because of that film, and that's why I love it so much.
See, I love New Hope. I do. I think it's 5 out of 5. But I do think Empire is better, slightly.
Empire is a better written movie, but I can never just watch that movie and just be done with it. I can't just I'm just gonna jump into the 5th one, and just end it there. It's like, no, I gotta watch the next one too.
Yeah, for sure.
You pretty much just have to make a day of Star Wars. It's just hard to just watch just one.
Yeah. What can you say about Star Wars? It's amazing.
It created geekdom.
It really did.
It did.
It revolutionized sci-fi. That started the whole turning of the tide to where sci-fi was like, oh wow, sci-fi is more than just B-movie garbage.
Which is kind of interesting that I even said fantasy and sci-fi, because even though it's a sci-fi setting, it's so fantasy.
Yeah, there's a fantasy element to it.
Yeah, like
the Force
and
everything.
The Force is a magic system.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So it kind of don't even know why I said that.
Freaking Alec Guinness. First of all, Star Wars was nominated for Best Picture when it came out, and then it lost to Annie Hall. But Alec Guinness was also nominated for Best Actor as Obi-Wan, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's... Was it?
Yeah, I'm almost certain he was.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up. But yeah, Star Wars is amazing. A lot of people are not as fond as Return of the Jedi, but I think Return of the Jedi was a really good closure to the series, in all honesty. That fight scene at the end with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker is still my favorite fight scene of the original trilogy.
It's the most poetic. I think the ending of it is the most poetic. But that fourth, the Empire Strikes Back, it's like a show of force, and pun intended, a show of force of everything that they can do.
Yeah,
and it's like you get to see the huge gap between the level of experience as a fighter.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I don't know what to say about Star Wars, man. What can you say that hasn't already been said?
Okay, so I have to do it a weird way.
What are you doing?
Because I'm trying to figure out which... Because I'm not just going to type in 1977, because I know it's going to probably show up as 1978, so I'm trying to... Oh, I know how to do this. I'm a legend. I'm the best.
Well, I just looked it up.
Leads.
Alec Guinness nomination.
That's all you did?
That's all I did, and then it lists them, dude. It lists them.
Oh, I'm dumb, dude. Don't list... I'm dumb.
Yeah, dude. Freaking Star Wars episode. Yes.
Oh yeah, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Okay.
Best Supporting Actor for A New Hope.
Yep.
And Little Dorrit.
That's fair.
Yeah, you were overthinking it a little bit there, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? I accept it. I accept it.
Literally, Alec Guinness nomination. Oh, fantastic.
So, Star Wars comes in... Oh, dude, you're going to hate me for this. You're going to hate my guts.
Why?
Because I gave 4 and 5 a high 9. I haven't given them a 10 yet.
Really?
I need to... well, not even that. I need to rewatch them. They're deserving of it. They probably deserve... They honestly deserve it.
Oh, and by the way, we should mention this because, a lot of millennials might not know this. When Star Wars came out, it was not called Episode 4, A New Hope. It was just called Star Wars.
Yep.
It was meant to be a trilogy. And then when the 80s came around with the re-release and the remasters or whatever, that's when George Lucas was like, oh no, but we're going to slap Episode 4 on here.
And then he waited an additional 15 years to even do the
prequels, yeah. So, yeah, 4, 5, and 6 are technically 1, 2, and 3. So that is the original Star Wars trilogy, and it's the best trilogy. I mean, they haven't closed the new trilogy yet, but it's definitely better than the prequels. That's for sure. Because Irvin Kershner, who directed Empire Strikes Back, man, he brought his own voice to that film, and I think it really shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess the last one. What is it? Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
That would be a low 9 for me.
Okay. Yeah. So high 9s and then low 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is why I was saying that.
No,
because
yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring is a 10 for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Fellowship of the Ring. It is a perfect fantasy story where Star Wars is a very default fantasy story. It's like every single character is like at its most basic form exactly what you would expect if you were to read a fantasy story. Mm-hmm. It's a lot different for Fellowship of the Ring. Every character is a little bit different. And if this was like a D&D campaign, everybody has their type of class or whatever.
Yeah.
But the protagonist of the story is not your typical protagonist in any way. Mm-hmm. It's like a escort mission.
Yeah.
Essentially, and he there's nothing that he can do about it. This isn't like a tale of him growing to be like a knight or something like that. He just has one specific goal, and basically everything in the story is like him discovering these other characters, the weakness in man when it comes to this power just dangling in their face, and his power is really just bonding with people. Mm-hmm. That's what he does when he meets like Bedamir and stuff like that. Like, he's just a people person. Cool. Frodo, I'm referring to. I love that movie. I love the way that specific entry shifts. I love the ending that every character has like divided. So now everyone has their own storyline. Mm-hmm. They all have their own motive. They all have the same end goal. Yeah. But they all go about it in like a different way or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Frodo disconnects himself with everybody else because he fears that everybody else will be like Boromir. Okay. And try to come after him. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a weird way to explain it. I don't care. Fellowship of the Ring is fantastic. Two Towers is at a low 9. For me, the one storyline of Pip and Merry is just kind of lackluster in that movie.
Yeah, I hear that.
It drags the pace.
That's what people say. They say the second's the worst, quote unquote, worst one.
It's I mean, I don't know.
Which I say worst, not because for lack of a better word. Yeah. It's just.
And then the last one is a high 9 because everything about it is fantastic. There's two major, like, army scenes. There's two major battle sequences, and they're fantastic. Like, wow, like the design of them, the technical proficiency of the special effects and everything like that is just amazing. It's honestly just a lack of substance for like the majority of that film. They do the bulk of it in the last couple films, so there's a severe lack of it. It does have a very emotionally impactful ending. I cry every time I see it, so probably deserves the 10 again. I keep saying that. It's like a famous quote of mine. But I'm not one of those people that are just going to give it because I think that it deserves it. I need to rewatch the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Give it its due.
Do you... Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Do you like the Hobbit trilogy?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
They're just okay.
Yeah, they're very like kind of...
I do like Desolation of Smaug, though. Uh-huh. That one it leaned into its cartooniness. I
can't... See, the thing is that when I think about those movies, they're just one big movie to me. I can't differentiate.
Well, it's one big book.
Yeah, I cannot differentiate the difference between any of them. I think I remember Luke Evans appearing out of nowhere in the third one. I think
something like that. And I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, well.
He's one of the leaders of the army, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I enjoyed The Hobbit, but yeah, Lord of the Rings. Have I told you I've never seen like some of them? I've never seen Two Towers.
Really?
Yeah. Or Return of the King, really.
It shouldn't be overlooked, though. Honestly, I love that movie.
Yeah,
Two Towers is great.
That's one of my... Everyone's like, what's the movie you're ashamed of never seeing? It's those films, like Lord of the Rings.
You would have asked me like 2 years ago, like, that list would have been crazy. Actually, that's a list idea.
There you go. Films we're ashamed of never...
Films we're ashamed of never seeing.
Never seeing. Okay, are we good for my number 2?
Hit me.
Well, I can't elaborate. By the way, a lot of these we knew going in that we were going to have the same ones. I think we've all had these same ones. The only wild card I had was Spider-Man. Back to the Future is my number 2.
Okay. I figured just the smile on your face told me, oh, it'll be on there.
Back to the Future is number 2 because, again, I feel like the consistency between each film was amazing. It like the level of quality was maintained throughout this trilogy more than most trilogies. Like where there was a noticeable dip in some of these trilogies, this is the one trilogy where I'm like, I can't see a dip. Like I know a lot of people don't like the third one for certain reasons, and some people don't like the second one for certain reasons. I think like they're all just like great films. I think they're all like perfect. You know, they're all perfect. The comedy is great. The drama is great. Special effects are great. The humor is just amazing. I already said that, but I had to reiterate it because it was so good. Yeah, Back to the Future, Zemeckis is probably the most underrated director of all time because this man has made some of the best films ever. Modern classics like Forrest Gump, Castaway, Back to the Future, and people don't even know his name.
Some people don't know his name because I feel like Steven Spielberg gets the credit for that movie.
Yeah, because he helped produce Back to the Future. And I think even on the poster it says like Steven Spielberg presents Back to the Future, which I get it, but at the same time I'm like, man, you got to give Zemeckis his due, because I think that's a huge misconception among normies. You know, is that we're like, oh, who directed Back to the Future? They're like, oh, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, because I mean, it makes sense where they're coming from. It does like, have his hands all over it.
Yeah, well, even like with Nightmare Before Christmas,
his style of film. Yeah, well,
everyone thinks that's Tim Burton, but he didn't do it.
Yeah,
Henry Selick directed that.
Yeah, but I get where they're coming from.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Henry Selick. It's like can you imagine? Like, yeah, I directed this movie. It was like, oh, I thought Tim Burton did that. How many times do you think he's heard that in his life?
And the other thing is they probably don't even know his name. Some people don't even know who he is.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately. So yeah, I feel kind of the same thing with Zemeckis, dude. He's so good at what he does. And he revolutionized motion capture. He was the guy who did that. You know, he was the guy who did the first motion capture movie with Polar Express.
Actually, Andy Serkis is the one who revolutionized. I'm just kidding.
The first fully...
I get it.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. So, and he really did, he kind of did, like, lean into that a little too much at that time, because he made, like, 3 of them, right? Because he did, what did he do? He did Polar Express, and then he did Beowulf, and I think he did another one, I can't remember.
Oh, I don't like Beowulf.
Christmas Carol. He did a Christmas Carol.
I forgot that movie even existed.
Yeah, he's like, he really got into that motion capture stuff for a while.
Yeah.
And then he came back with Flight, you know, which I didn't see, but...
Oh, it's a great movie.
Yeah, so there you go.
I really like that movie.
I'm telling you, man, he's amazing.
He's good. He's good.
He's so good. He needs more recognition.
Your number 1 is Star Wars.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What's my number 1?
What have you mentioned?
Oh, I'm not telling you.
Well,
that's how you narrow it down.
We're gonna narrow it down, dude. Your number 1 trilogy is, I know it, the Matrix trilogy. No, I don't know. Give me the first letter.
You already said it.
Indiana Jones, Godfather. Right? Oh, I already said it?
Yeah.
The Dollars trilogy.
The Dollars trilogy.
I knew it. I knew it.
It's perfect.
It's great.
It's not exactly perfect, but it's coming in at a 29.5 with 2 high 9s and 1 10.
And the 110 is Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It's fantastic though. I mean, they play them out of order, and there's like subtle clues to like which order happens when, being the poncho in the man or the Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
The poncho, which he already has in Fistful of Dollars, stuff like that. It's very subtle about that stuff. I love every little single indicator of his character. Him being an anti-hero. Most Western characters, they'll throw their lives on the line to save somebody, but that movie opens with him grabbing some water and they're bullying some kid, and he does not do anything about it because he knows it's foolish. He does end up getting revenge for them, or he ends up fucking them up later, but still, like he's not stupid in any regard, and that's I think that's a more accurate like depiction of like what the Western life would have been like.
Yeah.
Like any gunslinger.
I think Fistful of Dollars is one of the best opening sequence. I know we talk about Indiana Jones that as one of the best first impressions, but I think Fistful of Dollars has one of the best first impressions ever as well. When he's like those people harassing him in the town, he goes up to the coffin maker. He's like, "You need 4 coffins."
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's so good.
Because like they scare his horse and then he just like hangs on the sign or whatever. Like that's so good, dude. It's so.
I love that. I love everything about that. That movie. It's even got a really strong finale
Yes.
I guess. Yeah, the finale is great.
They all have really good finales.
This movie is like a copy and paste of Yojimbo.
Yeah.
So that's a great movie as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of westerns have samurai-esque. Because Yojimbo was a samurai movie, right, by Kurosawa?
Yep.
So
it's the same plot.
Yeah.
That's kind of why it's not a 10 for me.
That and like Magnificent Seven, Seven Samurai. There's always correlations between those two. So
they kind of go hand in hand though.
Mm-hmm.
Different landscapes, same similar principles of the universe.
Basically.
So that movie is fantastic. The second one, if any of them, that deserves the rewatch the most.
Yeah, that's the one
for a few dollars more.
For a few dollars more is the one that's kind of, I don't want to say forgettable, but it's just the one I don't remember.
It's not that. I guess it kind of is forgettable in the fact that you have Lee Van Cleef. Mm-hmm. Playing a villain, which he will play another villain, a different one, but they focus every single ounce of energy, it seems like, for his character.
That's why I also put it as a spiritual trilogy, because I know a lot of people say this is a trilogy, but it's like, is it though? Is it a trilogy? Or is it more of a spiritual trilogy? Because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it might have been just like a trilogy as an afterthought, almost.
Perhaps, but the titles of the first two movies go hand in hand.
They do, but then the second one
kind of seem that way.
Yeah,
because what's supposed to be like the Once Upon a Time trilogy is like a spiritual trilogy, but the I wouldn't even call it that because this is according to like Wikipedia or whatever, like trilogies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That Once Upon a Time in the West, and then it goes to like Duck Sucker Duck or whatever?
Duck You Sucker, yeah, or Fistful of Dynamite as it's
Fistful of Dynamite, yeah, that's what it is. And Once Upon a Time in America, but they don't really have anything to do with each other. And it's called the Once Upon a Time trilogy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Fistful of Dynamite yet, but it's not even a Once Upon a Time movie.
I saw it. I saw it with Brian, and honestly, I hate to say this about a Sergio Leone film, I kind of forgot about it. Like the minute I saw it. I don't know why, it's just kind of forgettable for me. I don't know why. It was it wasn't like a bad film.
Well, you have all these behemoths that he's made.
Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't a very memorable...
If you see a good movie, you're going to forget about it. A good movie.
Yeah,
just a straight good movie.
Yeah, so...
and that's kind of an upsetting thing. But this movie, it didn't really progress or develop Clint Eastwood's character almost at all in this movie. No. And that's... Again, it's not a bad thing. It's an interesting take on the Western film, especially like a second entry of it. If they do all go together, but I can't really. There's nothing bad I can say about The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, it's great.
I love all three of those characters, and the standoff is like when you're building up every single character. You obviously know when seeing the movie which one you don't really cling to, and then how that plays into the other two characters and the bond that they've kind of created is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. I really like that character or that movie as almost a character study. Yeah, that's what Brian described it as to me. Yeah, that's what he likes about it. But it's they're all like three different people. Like obviously Clint Eastwood's character is he's an anti-hero, but he is the good. And then there's the ugly who's he's kind of in the middle of the road. He does bad things for himself, but he doesn't mean harm on anybody. And I think that's the cool bond between the two of them. Yeah, is like kind of learning that. And then the expedition just as a whole between the two of them. Right. So good entry, fantastic entry. I literally can't say anything bad about it though.
Boom, there you go.
And do you have anything to add to Star Wars?
No, I honestly don't. Star Wars is my number one, and yep, that's
a movie.
It's
a movie.
It's a great movie. Great 3 movies. Yep. All right, recently seen is what we're going to do.
Yeah, this time we didn't forget about it.
No, we didn't forget about it. We saw a lot of colors, or I did. The only things I saw were green, blue, and white. Green as in Green Book. And then blue and then white for the 3 Colors trilogy. Okay. It's kind of annoying that we didn't see red because,
to not be able to cover it on the podcast, but we'll get to it this week.
All right, so you want to start with Green Book?
We can start with Green Book.
Okay, cool. I really, really liked it.
I like this movie. This is a good movie.
It's a great movie, in all honesty. Peter Farrelly directed this, who is one half of the Farrelly brothers. A lot of the brothers you know, like, have been kind of splitting up. Not like splitting up, but like have been doing their own thing. Have you noticed this? Like Albert Hughes of the Hughes brothers did his own thing. Peter Farrelly did his own thing. Who else? The Vicious brothers, like one of the guys has been doing his own thing. It's like, it's interesting. Although they're not brothers.
The band's breaking up. They're called the Vicious brothers.
The Vicious brothers. So they made that name up.
They should have just been called the Vicious Duo.
The Vicious Duo, yeah. I don't know, man. Oh God, that's just such a. I like their films. Don't get me wrong. One of their films is an honorable mention for my favorite of the year, or one of his film, whatever. But yeah, the Vicious Brothers. Oh boy.
So this movie,
Green Book.
Yeah, it's a
true story about Tony the Lip taking Shirley. What's his name? Doc Shirley.
Yeah.
Doc Shirley, or Don Shirley is his name, but he's a doctor. So Don Shirley is his name. Basically on a concert tour through the Deep South, and basically dealing with prejudice and all the different laws that the South had, according to the, different than the North, but the North also had a very big prejudice going on at that time as well. Even though it wasn't in law, it was still like in society.
Mm-hmm. He needed somebody to drive him and help him with all this stuff, but also just for protection.
Yeah, and Tony the Lip was like a big dude. He was a bouncer,
for
the Copacabana, so he's seen some shit.
He's your stereotypical Italian
guy. Well, that's one thing about this movie is it's weird because this movie has a formula that we've seen before, and it's kind of formulaic.
We see it in a ton of movies.
But is that a detriment to the film, being that this film does that formula so well? Like the formula is done so well in this film.
See, I don't know. I think it's probably as good as it can get under these circumstances. But I don't want to say ever that like a type of movie can peak. Yeah. But I haven't yet to see a movie that has peaked any further for something of this caliber.
Yeah, and plus, like you said, also when we watched it, it does do some other things to basically elevate it above the genre or above that type of formula. There are a few steps it takes.
It's small pieces of commentary that have. It's the small pieces of commentary that haven't been said in movies before. Like, for instance, the African Americans of that time were generally like lower class, something like that. But it's not that they don't like high class culture; it's the fact that they haven't been exposed to it yet.
Yeah,
something like that, and it's that's a kind of unique piece of commentary. Like just as an example, you can't get really too far into it because it starts to get into spoiler territory.
Right. Yeah, and I really like the relationship that develops between Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali.
Oh, so good.
Which, by the way, both of those actors are friggin' amazing.
It's the selling point of the movie, and I'm glad that they focused so much on it. It's definitely, it takes up the most of the runtime.
And that's where a lot of the heart is, too, and a lot of the drama comes from their relationship. Because they're both dealing with prejudices of their own, in a sense. And it was really cool to see them being developed, and it develops throughout the entire film. There's not a point in the film where you're like, okay, they're friends, why are we still going? Where people are like, oh, we've become friends like midway through the film. No, like their relationship always developed throughout the film.
Always moving forward in some way.
It was always moving forward in some way, and then it, there's a culmination of it, and you can, again, in the formula, you can kind of see where it's going, and especially at the end, you're like, okay, this certain thing is going to happen, but you're still so happy when it does happen. And, you're like, yes.
Yeah, I was very satisfied with it from the beginning to the end in that regard.
And there's a lot of, sorry to interrupt, but there's a lot of like cynical movies regarding this subject matter about race. So many movies that are so cynical have come out recently about this exact subject matter. So it was really nice to see a really positive, optimistic
overall, this movie is kind of comfortable. Yeah. Even though it does deal with heavy subject matter, it's still comfortable, and it's kind of lighthearted in a way when you see all these movies that are like, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And this one is like, it's not the most aggressive version of it.
No, it's maybe not the most aggressive commentary, but I don't think this movie needed to be that.
It doesn't need to be.
I think the story really suited the lighthearted tone that it had. And honestly, again, I've said this like a million times, but it's the truth. It's one of my favorites of the year. It might be in my top 10. I don't know yet.
the lighthearted tone also is probably what landed it in the comedy section of the Golden Globe.
That's true.
Which I didn't really see exactly. It's definitely more of a drama to me.
Yeah. I could see like
where you're coming,
a lot of people were like, "Oh, the Martian, that was nominated for comedy too." But I thought the Martian was kind of funny though. Like the Martian had a lot of comedy in it, more than Green Book did. You know?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So
it's not a hardcore drama by any means.
Yeah, no. But yeah, dude, I love this film. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think I did, in all honesty. Let me go on my Stardust real quick. I just want to.
I have not rated it yet. I'm so far behind on like rating stuff. I really should just get to it. It's because I'm coming up right now with my top 50 albums of the year. Throwing some songs together that I really like for people to check out. And
4 stars. I gave it 4 stars.
Once I post that, I might end up posting it for anybody who actually likes music. Even though this isn't like a music based thing, but you know, music does go hand in hand with film sometimes. Both mediums. But this movie's good for what it is. It's kind of simplistic. It's cute. But you kind of get everything major from the film from the trailer. In all honesty.
I guess.
It's like the two big portions, the things that make up most of the movie are in that trailer. And it's just an expansion of it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. This movie did what it was meant to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. So I gave it 4 out of 5. What did you give it?
A high 7.
High 7. The king of the high 7.
The king. You called me low 7
last time. Yeah, you're the king of the low 7.
You gotta make up your mind.
King of the 7. How
King
about
of the 7.
King of the 7.
Yeah, which kind of feels weird because we just went through this trilogy list, and most of these movies I haven't seen since. A lot of them I haven't seen in almost like 10 years. Some of them at least. And it's like, man, I'm throwing together this list. Fuck. With all these 9s and shit. It just feels so out of character.
So, you want to talk about Blue and White?
Yes!
Blue. All right, let's start with Blue. For those of you who don't know, there's a trilogy. First of all, I didn't even hear about this trilogy until you brought it up. So, I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah.
So, I never really knew anything about it.
Really?
I'm like, let's do it.
That's a major, major thing for, like, the 90s art house boom.
I'm surprised I've never heard about it, in all honesty. Maybe I've heard about it in passing, but never... Obviously, like on Cinefix, maybe I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's been on there.
Yeah.
Color scheme, which is it's obviously in the title of the movies.
Yeah.
But they kind of the representation of each color is based on the French flag. They come to you in the strangest way.
It's a subversion of your expectation.
It's a subversion of your expectations because it's implying the expectation is like blue stands for liberty, but it's not what you had intended when you thought of liberty.
And same thing with white, which is equality.
Oh, equality.
And then red is...
not what you expected.
I'm nervous with red, because red is fraternity, right? Or red is fertility.
Yeah,
Yes, I think it's fertility. So
I already forgot it, and I just looked it up.
But Blue is basically more of an art house film than White, in my opinion. I thought White was more of a linear, kind of more of a structured narrative rather than Blue. Blue is very kind of art house, and the symbolism and the themes do most of the talking in Blue. It's about a woman who loses her family in a car crash, her kid and her husband. And
she's moving on.
And you're like, okay, I've sort of seen that before.
Yeah,
whatever.
you've definitely seen that before.
But
not the way that this is handled.
But not the way it's handled, no.
Not at all.
Because once you realize what this film is about, it makes it a lot more disturbing. You're like, holy, that's kind of fucked up.
It's pretty fucked up.
That's really fucked up.
But both of these movies are pretty fucked up.
See, I think that's probably why I like White more than Blue, is because I like positive. Even though White's not very positive, but I like kind of
something a little bit more playful to kind of balance it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That one's it's like a black comedy.
White's like a comedy. Blue is definitely not a comedy. It's honestly like a tragedy, like an anti-tragedy, in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. I mean, it's heavy, but it's I don't know how do I explain it. I don't want to spoil anything.
Half of this movie is exactly what you could see like almost anywhere.
Yeah.
And then half of it is like profoundly different.
There are ways in which the main character reacts where you just do not expect a real person to react that way. But once you realize what the film is about and the reason she's reacting that way, the movie becomes even more disturbing.
It's described as a very human trilogy, and that's almost why, because I feel like we're just going to talk about Blue and White. Like,
together, No, White's a lot less of a human
it's
story.
a lot less of a human story, which is kind of why I didn't like it as much. Blue, for the most part, it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that the ending is like a human response that you would see. It's more like for the audience.
Yeah.
It's more enjoyable for the audience, I think the ending is. But overall, that movie, the acting is really good. There are some moments when it's a bit flat, and I'm like, wow, this scene is very very dark, and I don't feel like any person on the planet would respond in a way like this.
Yeah. And by the way, the cinematography in both these films and the color scheme, whatever, that's used within the cinematography is so amazing.
And it's not what you would expect, because if you think of Blue at its most basic form, you think of like sadness, depression, something like that. And I mean, I kind of think of like
calm and all
kind
honesty.
of calm.
Yeah.
It kind of works in both regards.
Yeah. Kind of like how red can mean danger, but it can also mean passion.
Yeah, it means passion. It means like lust, like something
lust.
like that, which is used for like the stripper joint, and then another color that's used in it. They use different colors. Not just blue.
Not just blue. In
they
the same
use
thematic
like
sense.
yellow for her mother, who's like kind of like losing her mind from like age. And that's kind of...
And yellow's like the opposite of blue, right? Isn't it on the color wheel, I believe?
Which it also plays in the fact that her and her mother have a huge disconnect between each other. Their relationship is not great.
Yeah. And there's also, in doing research with this film, one thing that was revealed to me was every character within these films has a thing that connects them to the past. You know, and in blue, it's a chandelier.
Oh, yeah.
And then in white, it's that statue. You know,
yeah.
So there's something always there, and I will say the color scheme, in my opinion, in white was a lot more subtle because white is a very inconspicuous color. So white, I thought, was actually better than blue a little bit. I gave blue 4 out of 5 stars, but I gave white 4.5 out of 5 stars because, like you said, the way it shows equality, its theme is fucking insane.
It's insane.
It's a different because when you
I knew it was coming maybe 4 minutes before it showed it or something. I'm like, oh no!
Yeah, because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. You know, let's just say that the type of equality you're thinking of is not the type of equality the film gives to you.
No, not at all.
It's
Okay, I'm on the other end of the spectrum though. Like, not really. I'm kind of the opposite. I like blue more. Just a little bit.
Okay.
Not a whole lot.
Same. I like white just a little.
I'm like a high 8 on white. I'm like a low 9 on blue.
Yeah. Okay. We're almost splitting hairs at that point. Like both these films are great.
Yeah, they're both great. I'm so glad that we both got something out of it and stuff. I was kind of worried watching it with you. I'm like, this kind of might feel a little dry to him. I was kind of concerned, but I know not to be concerned over somebody who likes movies.
Oh yeah, like I said, I know it sounds like sometimes I'm that contemporary guy who likes the kinetic energy of like a lot of modern films, but
you gotta appreciate the potential every once in a while.
I do love the classics, man. I do love the classics, and I love all film, you know. And
I'm glad that we got to share this.
Yes, cool. So I'm looking forward to Red. Cannot wait to see Red. Funny thing, I know it's a totally different topic, but this just came to my mind. You know how it was funny you said our friend Mark the other day, he's like, he hasn't seen like the big films, but he's seen like some of the weirdest stuff.
Yeah.
We were talking, I was wearing my Love shirt yesterday, and he's like, oh yeah, I saw that film in theaters.
Yep.
I'm like, dude. You saw that film in theaters?
He's a fan of Angels and Airwaves.
Oh, okay.
Or he was at that time.
Right.
So that probably has to do with it.
That might, because I was like, dang, that's like a really obscure art house film.
Like he said to you yesterday. Mm-hmm. He hasn't seen Jurassic Park, but he's seen a competitive film about competitive tickling.
Competitive tickling, yes. Crazy. Anyway, that's all I got to really say about it.
That's pretty much all I got to say about those, but I do want to mention, I'm not really going to talk about it too in detail because I know that I'll probably be bringing it up when we do our top 10. I saw First Reformed.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Schrader film.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and I'm very upset because if I didn't already tell you this, I had tickets to go see this movie in an advanced screening a week before it came out. Like almost a year ago now.
Dang.
Like back in like April maybe. I was just getting off of work. I had like 45 minutes, and the movie started like it's on at the theater that it's hard to get to right now because they had the construction
the main art theater.
The main art theater. So you had to go like way out of the way to get there.
You got to friggin'.
And it was like 45-minute wait. You know what I ended up doing? I ended up going to see Han Solo because
nice.
I'm like, well, fuck it. We're already on the way to the movies. We'll never make it in time. And in the email it says like, you have to be the first one to get here, otherwise
it's first come, first serve.
Your seat may get taken. I'm like, damn, you guys aren't even thinking ahead on how many spots you got.
Oh, dude, even with like Seven Psychopaths, which is the only pre-screening I've ever seen, it was sold out. It was like we had to get there in line, and the line was like crazy long. People didn't even know what this movie was, but they knew it was free, so that's why they went to it. So you probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, I probably would have made it, so I didn't even want to risk it. We're like halfway there, we're like, let's just go see another movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't have even made it.
It was a cool experience going to see those though. I got to see the Florida Project. If I didn't already bring this up to you before, and
nice.
then there's like critics there and stuff like reserved seats for critics. It's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in that seat at some point.
I know, dude. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'll just say that it was really good.
Sweet.
And it wasn't as like not. It's a hard thing to say if this is like anti-religion or not. That's why I'm like I don't know if I should recommend it to you. I probably wouldn't. So it's because it kind of rides that line.
I'll have to check it. Maybe I should check it out just to see because I would like to see if it rides that line by myself. I'd be like, where does it tip? We'll have to see.
But it's a classic Paul Schrader. Even like same formula as like a Taxi Driver.
Yes, he seems to be very disheartened with the world in like every film he's ever done.
Which the world isn't perfect.
Very true. All right, my man. Are we good here?
I think that's about it. Okay,
dude. Well, Star Wars has been like we talked a lot about Star Wars. You know what I mean?
I know where this is going.
So, anyway, you just talked about Solo, but Star Wars is in both of our trilogies. So I think the last thing we have to say to these viewers is may the Sith be with you.
I couldn't even say it.
May the Sith be with you.